Pull the plug on a health care vote. Fox Radio's Jared Halpern is live on Capitol Hill.
Republicans had planned to mark the 7th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act by passing the law's repeal and replacement in the House. That vote now canceled for today as House GOP leaders and President Trump continue negotiating possible changes to win over broader consensus within the party. A group of conservative Republicans making up the House Freedom Caucus returned from a session at the White House, telling reporters there still isn't a deal. They want more insurance requirements scrapped. But moderate Republicans are also voicing concerns. Several of them have signaled their no votes. With no support from Democrats, Republicans can afford fewer than 24 defections to pass the measure. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. No immediate reaction from the president on postponing the vote, but he did say just a short time ago that a vote would be close.
And by the way, it's close not because Obamacare is good. It's close for politics. They know it's no good. Everybody knows it's no good. It's only politics because we have a great bill.
He spoke during a meeting with trucking executives, continuing to emphasize he is eager to move on to tax breaks. The British family man turned terrorist who killed 3 people in London yesterday was shot dead at the scene. But the police investigation continues with raids on several locations, and 8 people are now in custody, arrested on suspicion of preparing terrorist activity. An arrest made in dozens of threats against Jewish centers around the world.
The Israeli National Police, in a joint investigation with the FBI, this morning arrested a 19-year-old Israeli man.
Israeli police spokesman Mickey Rosenfeld, the suspect is Jewish. His attorney says he has a serious medical condition that may have affected his behavior. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
5 times more hires are made through Indeed.com than any other job site, according to independent research. Imagine a lottery that had 5 times more winners, or a Sunday with 5 times more touchdowns. When you're hiring, it makes 5 times more sense to use Indeed. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Are you concerned about your prostate? Do you pee more often than you used to? Be honest, is there a drop in your romantic life? You need to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate. With Super Beta Prostate, you'll have less urges to urinate, less waking at night, and an improvement in your romantic life guaranteed. Try it free. Pay only shipping and handling.
Call 1-800-467-5059. 1-800-467-5059. 1-800-467-5059.
Recapping our top story, a vote postponed, at least for today, on the House GOP health care bill that still has some conservative members of the House, especially conservative members, opposed to it. The chairman of the Freedom Caucus just saying that House Speaker Ryan has a very difficult task ahead to get enough votes to pass the bill, even after meeting with President Trump today. A 5-term California congressman now under criminal investigation for possible campaign finance violations. Republican Duncan Hunter accused of using campaign funds for personal expenses, including trips to Hawaii and Italy and tuition for school-age children. He had already been under House ethics review and says any mistakes were not intentional. A dramatic escape leads to an Alabama man's arrest in a kidnapping case.
Birmingham police have Manuel Ali Towns in custody after a woman managed to unlatch a trunk she was locked in and free herself. Brittany Diggs' escape was caught on a gas station surveillance camera. Police say Diggs was kidnapped March 14th when Towns pulled a gun on her at her apartment and demanded money. Police say she was then forced into the trunk of Towns' car and driven to several ATMs to use her debit card. It was at the last ATM stop at the gas station where Diggs escaped and ran into the store for help. Investigators arrested Towns Tuesday and charged him with kidnapping and robbery. His bond is set at $500,000. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Wall Street's famous charging bull will continue to be stared down by a fearless girl, at least until April 2nd. New York City extending the permit for the new statue's stay in the financial district. Supporters argue she should be a permanent fixture in support of gender equality, but critics say it amounts to an advertisement for the asset management firm that put her there. The Dow closing down 4 points, turning lower after that health care vote was postponed. Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
I'm good to go.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer.
Trust the experts at Cheap Hour Service Experts to keep you comfortable all year long, whether it's heating or cooling. Call the experts at 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, overcast, low 46, Friday, mostly sunny, high 73, low 56. Thunderstorms and rain over the weekend starting Saturday, high 66, a low of 52. Right now, overcast, there's some scattered showers, 50 in Champaign-Urbana.
Doing some work, right?
Yeah.
I guarantee you tomorrow there'll be a team meeting. Some guys are going to have to make decisions. Some decisions will be made for them about whether they're with the Illini program. But in the meantime, Johnny Dawkins goes to New York City.
And it's a capper on the marvelous career of co-captain Tracy Abrams at Illinois.
Yeah, and I must say something also about Maverick Morgan. Maverick Morgan's a kid I coached in AAU. Great family, terrific career of Illinois as well.
Here come the students after UCF wins its 24th game of the year in the NIT quarterfinals. Up next, the TCU Horned Frogs. Our final score from Orlando, 68-58 UCF.
There you have it. Highlights courtesy of ESPN. Dan Dockish, part of that call, talking some good things about the Fighting Illini, but the season does end. Illinois drops to Central Florida, 68-58. Thanks a lot, Broadway show. Appreciate that road game when Illinois could have hosted. Illinois done. Season
Everyone's
done.
Complaining about that.
I'm kidding. That's why I'm being sarcastic.
4,000 or 5,000 people showed up.
I don't think.
And hey, Central Florida fans, they wanted it, man.
Didn't they storm the court?
They were crazy about it. Yeah, it was like the biggest moment of their program's history.
Well, good for them. They're heading to New York.
Well, and Johnny Dawkins is an NIT giant.
He really?
He's 14-1 in the NIT.
Is he really?
14-1.
Who did he lead from the Big Ten? Didn't he? Or no, not from
Stanford.
the Big Ten. He led Stanford. That's
Stanford
right. To the NIT.
Twice. To NIT championship. So don't mess with Johnny Dawkins.
Johnny Dawkins is the one guy that tanks it in early March so they don't make the NCAA tournament. He wants to go down as the all-time leading winner of NIT.
So a bad season and a bad era ends for Illinois. They were 20-15, the first 21 season in a couple of years. Wow. The sad part is the end of Malcolm Hill's career.
Yes.
And the way he ended it was pretty fitting. He carries a team, gets them back into the game in the second half last night with 29 points, and gives them a chance, but there's just not enough around him.
Right, that's the problem.
I mean, he had to carry way too much of the load, but finished his career with 1,846 points, third all time.
That is incredible.
It's sad to see him go, because he was a great player on bad teams.
Right.
And it's not his fault. And I feel like I'm Goodwill Hunting. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Right.
But he was everything you want in a student athlete at Illinois.
Without a doubt. Don't you feel like, though, while we have talked about this endlessly about a guy like Dimitri McCamey or Mike Davis, and you don't have to do your Weber, Mike Davis, it feels like with those guys, there's a lot of Illinois fans that kind of blame them. That era when they were in college wasn't. I don't feel like we get that with Malcolm.
No.
Now maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm missing.
There's some people out there who say overrated.
Right.
He wasn't. He was on losing teams. I get it.
He just steadily got better throughout his entire career.
Yeah.
And like you said, he did everything right. And this is a guy that I hope, I don't know that he's got the athletic ability to play at the next level in terms of the NBA, obviously, but I hope he's a guy that can go somewhere and play some basketball and make some money. And I think there's a good chance he can do that.
No doubt. Malcolm's going to make a lot of money playing basketball. It's just about where. Does he get drafted? He was soft. And all of a sudden, he turns into this confident player. Now, maybe he shouldn't have said white collar to Michigan because that's gotten them all hot and bothered. But Mav turned into the second best player on this team the last 14 months.
Without a doubt. And that shot, his offensive game and that jump shot, I don't even know if you call it a jump shot. It's almost like a set shot, the way he shoots. That thing will make him some money overseas. I think Mav can do that. I mean, he's the prototypical kind of overseas big guy that can not necessarily run the court, but he can get up and down the court. And just the fact he can step out from 15 to 18 feet and knock down his jumper, it's going to get him a lot of money.
Got a European career ahead of him.
He does.
And then Tracy Abrams, I mean, how can you not like the kid? I mean,
poor kid's got to be worn out.
People can break him down all they want. I want that guy on my team.
Without a doubt.
I want that guy on my team. You need better. You need better. You need more talent. All these things. But when you're talking about Malcolm and Tracy especially, I don't know how fans could ask for more from these guys as student athletes. I think they gave everything they had. It's not their fault there wasn't enough talent around them, or there wasn't a better coach around them. But Tracy Abrams, I would hire tomorrow.
Yes.
To be on my staff or to any business I have, because I want that kind of people in my organization.
I have no idea if coaching is in his future, if that's what he wants to do. Maybe he's alluded to that, but he would be a great coach. Think about all he's learned in the last 6 years. And I talked to a friend this morning at the office, and we were talking about these three guys, like you and I are right now. And I brought up Tracy, and he's like, yeah, he didn't play very well last night. And I didn't, disclaimer, I had an event last night. I didn't see any of the game and told you that.
Just didn't make shots.
Yeah, somebody said that Tracy just looked worn out. I think I saw maybe on somebody's tweet said that. And this guy this morning said, imagine this line, that not only did he give all this effort to Illinois with regards to coming back from injuries, but he's got to live now with two major injuries the rest of his life. And we know when you get to my age in your 40s, that stuff can bark. And so Tracy gave that to Illinois, and I know a lot of athletes, and heck, I would have done the same thing to wear a uniform in college and have a scholarship. But listen, that's something that he'll live with now, and that's kudos to him. Kudos to him.
We're not going to break down a lot of that game. I mean, because in the long run,
one dude's tall.
It doesn't mean, yes, Mav looked like a pipsqueak. And Mav is 6'11", 260 pounds or something like that,
Unreal.
Right? Taco Fall is ridiculous human being. I think they were saying on the broadcast he's one of the top 40 tallest people in the world.
Is that what it is?
Living,
wow.
like right now. I don't know how you find that stat.
I don't either.
Like, how do you know there's not some 7'9" guy in Senegal?
I would be ticked off if I were 7'6" and still wasn't number one.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be ticked off if I was only top 40.
Who's the 8-footer? That's what I want to know.
Where's that dude at?
Where you at, 8-footer?
That is unbelievable.
But yeah, he was really tall.
Yes.
Matt Williams jacking up threes from 35 feet.
That's what somebody said.
I was saying at the beginning of the game, I tweeted out, you might want to run him off the 3-point line because he loves shoot. He shot like 400 threes this year or something like that. And then he pulls up from 30 feet, and Malcolm's like 2 feet behind the 3-point line trying to face guard him.
What do you do?
It's like, okay, pick him up at half court.
Right.
Like, you better run him off the half court line. But other than that, I mean, Illinois was just jacking up threes.
That's what I heard.
That's better than 2-point jumpers.
Yeah, and they must have heard you.
But they didn't attack the rim once, even when Taco Fall was out.
Wow.
They didn't make a 2-pointer until the 18-minute mark. But it really doesn't mean anything.
No.
Because now the Brad Underwood era begins.
Right.
The Jamal Walker era as head coach is over, as interim head coach. But Derek Piper just broke the news that Jamal Walker will be returning to Illinois in an assistant role.
Fantastic.
The source confirmed that to Illini Inquirer. Here's Derek's short story. Walker played a crucial role in recruiting 5-star big man signee Jeremiah Tillman in the 2017 class. Also has been the lead recruiter for Mr. Basketball winner Mark Smith. According to his sources, Walker was pursued by Missouri and a few other programs to be an assistant coach, but Illinois was able to keep him in Champaign, which is huge news for the program going forward. This just helps the rebuild. If you're able to keep on to Tillman, which I imagine you will,
awesome.
And if you're able to land Mark Smith, that makes this not as big of a rebuild.
Right.
Because,
Exactly.
yes, I think you're going to have struggles next year because you're going to be a young team, and I think I don't know if you have a go-to guy next year unless you get the transfer from Oklahoma State, which we don't even know if he's going to be a grad transfer yet, Jeffrey Carroll. So next year, I think there's enough to make the NCAA tournament. But in 2 years, all of a sudden, if you have Jeremiah Tillman as a sophomore, LaRon Black, Michael Finke, Jalen Coleman-Lands as seniors, Tijon Lucas and Kipper Nichols as juniors, those guys as sophomores, and a good freshman class, you can be a pretty dang good team.
That's putting together a good roster.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to kind of break that down a little bit today. And it's huge. And I know the news of this, the timing of this is fantastic in the sense that
this is why you almost wanted them to lose at some point.
Right. Just
so
get
you
this
can
done.
Start this. And I hate saying that, but you know we're all thinking it.
There's no doubt.
Like when they beat Boise State, it's like, oh, good for those kids. But Brad Underwood really needs to get this thing going.
Yes.
And I don't think you can announce Jamal Walker staying until the rest of those guys are done.
Yes.
Because Paris Parham and Dustin Ford and all the rest of those guys, like that's an awkward situation already. And it's this Walker thing, it seemed like for the last week, Underwood's wanted to keep him. Walker's wanted to stay.
Right.
Missouri's made its run. Missouri's been leaking out information. They're going to get Jeremiah Tillman. But if they keep Walker, they're going to keep Tillman.
And that's huge. And I had read that probably on IlliniInquirer.com
Ding.
that Coach Underwood, Brad Underwood's going to visit Jeremiah Tillman and his mom tomorrow.
And Jamal Walker will be there.
And that's the timing of this is fantastic, right? Yeah. Impeccable with regards to being able to take Jamal down there. And I guess if you're down in that area, you might as well go see Mark, right?
Mark Tupper reported that Javon Pickett, they're going to see him tonight, I believe. And Mark Smith is actually going to be on his visit. So he's not going to be able to see him this weekend, most likely. But when their schedules align, they will meet up. And Illinois has a good chance.
That's awesome.
At a kid like Mark Smith.
Awesome.
So that's what Jamal Walker allows. Also, the fact that we don't have to answer this question.
Right.
I mean, fans have been freaking out about this, and I understand it. But Illinois felt pretty good about this all along, that Jamal Walker would stay.
Well, it's big. I think Illinois fans now,
especially with the talent in that area, coming up.
And we've unfortunately the last 4 years especially lived through what has not been fun basketball. And now you get a new guy in here, so you're excited about Brad Underwood, yet there's that little piece of you that is like, oh man, that's great that he's here, but if we miss out now on some of these recruits, you'll always have that what if. And I know it's not official yet with these guys, for sure, but keeping Walker hopefully means you're keeping Tillman and hopefully DeMonte and Javon and of course Frazier. And then if you can rail in Smith, and all of a sudden, to me, it's a win-win. You've gotten a new coach. You've got a guy that we think, especially by the numbers, is going to elevate this program. More importantly, I love the fact of how he comes in and speaks about this is an elite job and he wants to treat it like that. And I hope he does. Well, and also you keep these kids.
It is fair to bring up. He said the same things about Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think we got to be fair, but obviously he left Oklahoma State to come here, and Illinois is paying him well. All those things. So as you could go that press conference at Oklahoma State and the press conference at Illinois, it was the same things.
Same thing.
But Illinois got a good coach now.
Yes.
Right. That's the most important thing. And Josh Whitman has a huge buyout on that thing. He's got a great contract that he's. 10 times his salary?
That's unreal.
In the last 2 years.
That's unreal.
So good for him. And now the hard work begins. And, a lot of these players are going to learn a new system.
Yes, they are.
And I think this is, John Gross was a hard worker, a hard driver, but this guy's a really hard driver.
Get ready for the treadmill. Right? It sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely.
As Thomas Walkup told us about it. That is interesting stuff. Before we get kind of into what we're doing today, Zach in Sioux Falls, South Dakota has been holding here on the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line. We started out talking about the seniors, and one of those, of course, Malcolm Hill, and Zach wanted to comment on that. Zach, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Go ahead with your thought.
Good. Well, before I do Malcolm Hill, I was going to say this might be a few years off, but if Illinois gets it rolling with Lovie Smith and Brad Underwood, you know what they need to call Illini Nation, right?
What's that?
Loveywood.
Okay. Okay, I'll take it, man.
Okay. My question is, I know that you guys have had the real Illini heroes in the past. What are the chances of getting Malcolm Hill a real Illini hero?
That is a fantastic thought. Now, you know what?
Carp, you listening?
Carp's going to hear that, and he's already writing it. I guarantee he's already writing it. That is wonderful. Zach, great idea, buddy. Thanks for the call, and thanks for listening.
What would he be? Real Illini heroes.
I don't even remember how it went. Oh, it was
Mr. Da 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 da.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to think about that.
There's a lot of syllables in there.
We'll get Carp in here at the first break, and we'll start working on it.
Mr. Not very athletic but dangerous shooter. I don't know.
But third all-time scorer.
My team sucks, but I'm pretty good. Like that guy.
You're onto some stuff here.
Just throwing some thoughts out there.
I love it. Believe me, I guarantee you, Carp's already doodling back there. He's already writing notes down for this one.
Coming up next, we're going to talk about what Underwood actually inherits on this roster and how it kind of compares to what Gross inherited, what the roster turnover will be like for this. We'll break that down coming up. We'll also talk about the NCAA tournament games tonight. The Sweet 16 starts tonight with 4 games. We'll talk some baseball. We've had so Illini focus on that. Baseball is just around the corner, 2 weeks
Isn't that
away.
Crazy? The Cardinals have a new number 1 gun on the mound that we'll discuss.
I want to talk about that as well. And sometime, I think in the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to talk with former Illini women's coach Teresa Grentz.
Fantastic.
She's going to call in, now the coach at Lafayette, but the most successful women's basketball coach here.
Yes.
And we want to ask her about Nancy Faye,
I want to
the
talk
new
to
hire.
You.
And I want to hear your thoughts, Mom, because I know you take an interest in that program.
I do.
And you hire a 5-time national national champion at the D3 level. Illinois went a very successful coach the last time around,
Yes, they
and
did.
it didn't work. So
Right.
I'm interested to see what you think of this hire as well. If you guys want to weigh in, you can. You can call us on the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line or text the Cheap Hour text line at 217-359-2255. That's 359-2255. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Tay and J Show. I tweet at J Warner Scout.
At Lonte, ESPN. See you.
Download the WSJK app. You can see the picture now on YouTube. I think it was just the audio before. Something was blocking the camera.
I'm doing the goofy like
Scott,
when they
our
put you on
engineer,
TV
fixed
on
it.
ESPN.
Yeah. You can watch us on YouTube. Just search Tay and J Show. Get our podcast at ESPNCU.com or find us on iTunes. It's all powered by GTPS Insurance. Our interns today, Harry Black and Tyler Knight.
It's weird it's almost like a deserted town when there's only 2 interns.
I know.
It's
we
weird.
We used to only have 1 every day. Now we
I
got
know.
8 every day.
And when there's only 2, I feel like they don't like us anymore. Yeah. It is the Tay and J Show.
An ESPN Radio Mike and Mike Extra Point.
Michael Jordan at the age of 39.
Uh-huh.
Do you know how many games he played?
82.
Do you know how many minutes a game he averaged?
105.
No, that's...
Congratulations to Michael Jordan.
37 minutes a game.
Okay.
All 82 games.
Okay.
At the age of 39. Okay?
What do you
That's all I'm
want? What
saying.
do you want from me? Why are you looking at me?
Because I don't feel like you're upset about this enough.
Because it's the reality of where we are. Would I like them to play more? Yes, but this is the reality of where we are. I'd rather see reality and say, okay, how do we deal with it, than keep saying, oh, you know what they did back in the day? They played 82. You know, the mailman has to go to work every day, and I don't mean Karl Malone. You know, this doctor has to go to work every day. This teacher has to go to work every day. Why can't LeBron James go to work every day? We sound ridiculous when we say stuff like that.
Hear more from Mike and Mike tomorrow morning on ESPN Radio.
First time skydiving? Sure is. Okay, you just open the door like this and you jump. Oh, wait. Should we be like in tandem? Tandem? That's a great idea. Are you a certified instructor? No, but I love parachutes and I love people. Here we go.
You wouldn't take chances with an uncertified skydiving instructor. Don't do it with your finances. Find a certified financial planner professional today at letsmakeaplan.org. CFP. Work with the highest standard.
Remember when a small business needed a landline? Today, landlines are a thing of the past with Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. On the road, at the beach, or at home, Grasshopper helps you grow your business. Get all the features of a business phone system and the freedom of a cell phone with our iPhone and Android apps. Features include multiple extensions for your team, calls forwarded to your mobile phones, voicemails transcribed and emailed, and so much more. See how it works at grasshopper.com, the entrepreneur's phone system.
Winning can be fun, and we love giving away free stuff, but we want to make sure it's fair for everyone. So here are the rules when competing to win on ESPN 93.5. No purchase necessary. Prize must be collected within 30 days during business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 2702 Boulder in Urbana. ESPN Radio assumes no liability due to circumstances beyond our control, and any prize may be substituted with a prize of equal or greater value. Winners are liable for any taxes, tips, or other miscellaneous charges associated with the prize. All contestants must have a valid ID and social security number. Our judges' decisions are final and reserve the right to end any contest at any time for any reason without notice. In the event that a contestant is found to be ineligible for a prize, said prize will not be awarded. And if you win, we reserve the right to use your likeness or voice on the radio or online, and any winners must wait 30 days to win again. Get a complete list of rules and more information on any contest on ESPN Radio at ESPNCU.com. Those are the rules, and good luck from ESPN 93.5.
There's nothing better than real Texas barbecue, and no better place to get it than Hickory River Smokehouse. Every cut of beef brisket, pork shoulder, turkey breast, pork loin, and chicken are carefully selected and rubbed with a signature spice blend, infused with hickory smoke for a juicy award-winning flavor, and served up right here in Central Illinois for over 20 years. How about a taste as big as Texas for lunch, dinner, your next get-together, or to watch the big game? You're guaranteed to be the fan favorite. HickoryRiver.com or on North Cunningham in Urbana.
As the leader in fire protection and security systems for industrial, commercial, and residential buildings, Matco features exceptional protection. Matco installs, maintains, and inspects fire sprinklers, alarms, CCTV, security systems, and access-controlled systems. Their vigilance is a must-have priority to protect your assets. Matco's digital monitoring and veteran personnel are your best security investment. Their 24-hour emergency service ensures that you are covered at all times. Contact Matco at matcofire.com.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
325, I'm Jeremy Warner with your Sports Center update, brought to you by First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. 11 days after John Gross was fired, the Illini basketball season finally comes to an end. Malcolm Hill scored 29 points in his final collegiate game, but the rest of the Illini shot 23% from the field in a 68-58 loss in front of a sellout rowdy crowd at Central Florida. Illini shot 12 for 38 from the three-point line and were out-rebounded on 36-19.
Oh, I don't like that.
No, Illini end the season 20-15 overall. Hill ends his career third all-time in Illinois history with 1,846 points. Tracy Abrams ends his career with 1,191 points. That's 33rd all-time in Illinois history. So the Brad Underwood era begins in earnest, and Derek Piper of IlliniInquirer.com just reported about 30 minutes ago that Jamal Walker will stay on staff. He's one of the key assistants in the recruitment of Jeremiah Tillman, as well as the lead recruiter for Mark Smith, Illinois Mr. Basketball. He was 2-1 as the interim head coach. Sweet 16 starts tonight. Early games feature 7 Michigan against 3 Oregon. 4-seed West Virginia against 1 Gonzaga. Those are followed up by 4-seed Purdue against 1-seed Kansas and 11-seed Xavier against 2-seed Arizona. Georgetown has fired 13-year head coach John Thompson III after back-to-back losing seasons. He and his father have coached Georgetown for 40 of the past 45 years.
That is great.
Washington has released number 1 overall prospect Michael Porter Jr. from his national letter of intent. His father was an assistant for recently fired coach Lorenzo Romar. Missouri and other schools are interested in hiring his father. U.S. won its first World Baseball Classic with an 8-0 win over Yadi Molina in Puerto Rico. Marcus Stroman threw 6 perfect innings.
It is the Tay and J Show. Lonte, Jeremy Warner. I'm going to self-brag for 2 seconds. So I'm the chamber president down in Villa Grove. Our chamber held a Jonah fish fry yesterday. Kudos to that community of Villa Grove. They come out and support you like crazy. Had a mayoral debate. I was the moderator of that. Here's the point of the story. I was going from like 6 a.m. until 11 p.m. yesterday, just nonstop, right? Yep. So I am just so doggone tired. And you just mentioned like all these games, and this Arizona game was Xavier, and then of course Purdue, Kansas. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, all right, I got a nifty little night ahead of me. Yeah. Might go work out a little bit, get to bed early. And then I sat there and I'm like, oh no, wait, it's Thursday, which means I'm not going to sleep for a long time. I mean, like the next 3 or 2 nights.
You could just go on a treadmill or a elliptical and watch it.
I watch some of it, but I'll have to stay up and watch these late games.
Yeah.
So forget sleep. I'll sleep Sunday.
I mean,
maybe.
The first 2 games are the games I'm really interested in.
Same here.
Michigan, Oregon, West Virginia, Gonzaga. I mean, Purdue, Kansas is interesting, but I think Kansas is too good.
Yes.
We'll see though. And if Xavier can beat Arizona, man, Chris Mack.
Wow.
He's got to start talking about him as one of the best coaches in the country.
We're going to talk about Brad Underwood and what he has remaining, but let's bring up, if you don't mind, Nancy Faye, the hire that was made yesterday by Josh Whitman, a nifty hire with regards to she was at Wash U.
Nifty hire.
So, hey, he didn't have to go far. He's like, hey, good friend, you want to come up?
Hello, friend.
Hello.
I got a job.
Yes, so come on up. Listen, this is funny because I think this is an intriguing hire. I honestly don't know what I think about this hire, but not often do you see a D3 coach move up to Division I. And why I think this is interesting is because of this. When I worked at WA&D in Decatur, Millikan University had a coach over there, Lori Kearns, who was unbelievable. She won at a high rate. Now, she didn't win national titles, although she got close a couple of times. And I always wondered to myself, I wonder why, or not why, but how she would do at a bigger level. And I talked to Coach Kearns about that a couple of times. And for her, it was just, I love Millikan. I love it here. I'm the athletic director. Everything fit for her. And I don't know that she really, I think that was enough for her, in other words. And that's not a problem. But I've always wondered, can you make that next jump? Can you leap from a Division III? I mean, I think if you can coach, you can coach.
Well, we've seen it at some levels.
Sure. Bo Ryan, right?
Bo Ryan was great. Kim Anderson was a failure.
Yes, he was. Great call.
Right?
Great way to say it both ways.
They are big jobs, and with big jobs becomes more challenges, more complications. more pressure, right? More relationships you got to have.
Yes.
If you can be really comfortable. And Nancy Faye obviously was very comfortable for a long time at Wash U. This job's a lot more complicated now.
Right.
Right? Recruiting to this is a little different.
No doubt.
Than recruiting to Wash U.
No doubt.
And the interesting thing is, I would like to ask is, Nancy's probably had interest before from some pretty good programs, but Wash U can pay pretty well.
Yes, they can.
Especially when you're winning national championships, right? They can pay pretty well. So what was it about this job, or was there not this kind of opportunity before, or, those kind of things, and what sold Josh Whitman on it? I mean, but he's a D3 to D1 guy.
No doubt.
But when you're the women's coach that's fastest to 600 wins, when you've won 5 national championships, not that you just got to the NCAA tournament all the time, you won national championships.
That's impressive.
You won your conference 23 out of 31 times. You made the NCAA tournament 29 out of 31 times. You haven't lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament since 1996.
Wow.
Or something like that. Like, that's a different level of success that gives you a little bit of confidence.
Yes.
But I think she's going to have a lot of time.
Yeah, I agree.
I think she's going to have time, and I think that's what Whitman's going to reassure her. Bolant felt like maybe he thought he needed to turn it around a little quicker.
Right.
That he didn't have a lot of time to do it. So he made some bigger decisions or pushed harder than maybe he should have.
Yes.
I think Nancy Faye is going to be really comfortable in her own skin no matter what level she's in.
And you kind of hope. It seemed like in that women's program that Matt Bolant had to change a culture. And he did. I think he did that, and it was just too late for him. So kind of like Brad Underwood.
He changed it first in a bad way.
Yeah, well, right. No, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and then kind of shifted it back to where hopefully it's going in the right direction now. And so kind of like Brad Underwood, I think maybe Nancy Faye steps in, at least culture-wise, that this program's going in the right direction. And kind of why I brought up Coach Kearns at Millikan is maybe Nancy Faye just never wanted to leave. I mean, maybe it was just one of those situations where she was offered, but she thought, I'm comfortable where I'm at. I'm winning at a high level. I like it here. I like St. Louis. I'm just going to stick. And then it took a good friend like Josh Whitman to kind of convince her to take this chance. I'm glad she's doing it. Win or lose, I'm glad she's doing it because now she can prove to herself that she can win at a high level, and hopefully she'll be able to come in here. It'll take a while, but hopefully Nancy Faye can come in here and win at a decent level and get Illinois women's basketball back to kind of where Coach Grint's at.
There's some young talent. It'll be interesting to see what the recruiting class. I mean, Matt Boland had a good recruiting class coming in.
Yes,
if she's got that, they have some guards. They don't have the bigs.
No, they don't.
So it's going to take some time for her to turn this thing around, but there is some young talent. Now we go to Brad Underwood and what he inherits, Lon. And, John Gross at his, farewell press conference said something that kind of at the time I was like, I don't know if I believe that.
Okay.
And that was, I think I left this place in a better spot than when I came here. And when he said that, I'm like, well, you just missed 4 NCAA tournaments. How can you say that? But when he's talking about the roster, he's correct.
Yes.
Because just think back to what John Gross inherited.
Oh, I've preached on that for 2 years after he was hired. I preached and complained about how Weber left the staggering of those classes.
Well, and the biggest thing is he had some talent on that first team. They were all seniors.
Yes.
Brandon Paul, DJ Richardson. You could throw Tyler Griffey in there.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Bertrand was the only junior on that roster. Right? The only junior.
And he had redshirted.
Right.
I mean,
the sophomore class had 6 kids, and it was a top 25 class, right? Only 2 of those kids graduated with for Illinois.
Wow.
Nana Egwu, Tracy Abrams. Devin Langford, transfer. Mike Henry, transfer.
Yep. Who was the big guy
A.B.
with
Jim
Matt?
Day.
Yeah.
Transferred. Mike Henry, transfer.
Yeah.
Right? All those guys transferred out. And you had no freshmen.
Wow.
You had no freshman class. So think of that. You had 2, after his first year, the only 2 players that Weber left him that were worth anything were Nana Egwu and Tracy Abrams, and those need to be your 4th and 5th or 6th best players on your team.
Absolutely.
They were his 2nd and 3rd, so he had to go that's why he went the transfer route.
Right.
Because he said, look what I have. I need to balance this thing out, and it made sense. I totally backed what he was doing.
I've never argued about that. You're right.
But he totally failed. It totally failed. Because he wanted to gain some momentum with his program. Ravonte Rice worked. Yeah. It made sense to bring Darius Paul, who had great success at the MAC, had the family connection.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these other guys, if Ahmad Starks could have played right away.
Right.
Aaron Cosby, the stats looked good coming from Seton Hall.
They did.
But it didn't work, and it really hurt your program in the long term. So now you look at the roster Brad Underwood inherits. It's not great.
Mm-mm.
there's a reason this team has finished so low the last couple years.
That is correct.
But you have 3 juniors who I think are going to be good contributors on your team and starting caliber kind of players.
Yes.
Starts with Jalen Coleman-Lance, LaRon Black, and Michael Finke.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 3 players who most teams would play a lot of minutes for a lot of teams.
Absolutely.
In the Big Ten. They shouldn't be your best player. I don't know if any of them are your second best player. Right.
Because those 3 players have a lot of question marks still.
But the right coach can get a lot out of them. And we'll talk about that here in a second.
Okay.
Dejon Lucas, nice player.
Yes.
Not an elite Big Ten point guard. I don't know if he ever will be. But he's a good Big Ten point guard. And he's a good defender. Then Kipper Nichols.
Yep.
That's a nice player in the rotation.
No doubt.
I don't know what his ceiling is. I don't know if he'll ever be a top 4 player on a team.
Fair enough.
But he's a good player.
Yes.
Right? He's a contributor. Then you add this number 9 ranked recruiting class that can even get better.
Yes.
Right? If you add Mark Smith. So if you add Mark Smith, Jeremiah Tillman, and Trent Frazier, I'll just go those 3 right now. That's a way better situation.
Without a doubt.
That Underwood is taking over. So we'll give Gross that credit. That he is taking over, Underwood is taking over a better roster than Gross inherited. The long-term wise.
Without a doubt, and you said it correctly, it could be almost the opposite, whereas Gross took over that, had that wonderful beginning where they won Maui, had a little bit of a pause there to start the Big Ten, but then they end up in the NCAA tournament. They win a game against Colorado. Then you lose that game, that heartbreaker against Miami. And then it was almost like, okay, now the rebuild begins. Well, with Brad Underwood, I don't want to call next year a rebuild by any means, but it's almost like, okay, we're going to start, instead of starting up here where Gross started and then immediately falling off, Underwood's going to start from not the bottom, but maybe a third of the way up and start to build. And if you can inherit this class with this talent that we think they could become, then I think that's just going to push him in a positive sign. And as a Illini fan, that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah. I'm hoping, I look at things like in 5-year stints.
And that's what you hope for. It's like, at least Gross set him up.
He did.
To where he could have success within the first couple years.
I could hear myself.
It's just, and that's why we kept saying, do you keep him? Because you could, there's still a path to having success. But after watching this year, it's like, that's not the guy to coach it.
No.
Right? He could get a better roster than the last guy, but he couldn't coach it up.
Not at all.
Now you got the guy you hope can coach it up, and hopefully you can add even more talent with the right staff, like Jamal Walker, probably a Lamont Evans, and then we'll see who the third guy is, where they can add even more really great talent. Because the next year's team, the whole is, you don't have a lot of size, you don't have a lot of length, but Jeremiah Tillman would fix a lot of that.
That would help.
Right? I mean, if you got Tillman, Finke, Black, Kipper Nichols, and maybe a 5th-year transfer big, you feel pretty good about that. But you don't have a go-to guy.
No.
I mean, I don't think Jalen Coleman-Lance is a go-to guy.
I do not either. I really don't, and that's not a dog on him.
I don't know if Mark Smith could be a go-to guy right away. I think he'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
Trent Frazier, I don't know if he's a go-to guy. So it's going to be more of a massive everybody pitch in kind of thing. We'll see who emerges as that.
What I'm anxious to see is kind of what we talked about 2 days ago with the numbers of what he was able to do, and he being Brad Underwood, at Oklahoma State in particular, with regards to making the one gentleman, and I've forgotten his name, the player that could possibly transfer.
Jeffrey Carroll.
He went from like 8 a game up to like 17. What I'm anxious to see with Brad Underwood, and now he did that in 1 year, so there's not, that doesn't make you think that he couldn't do it here.
Yeah.
So
somebody's going to take a big scoring lead next year. Somebody has to.
Well, right.
Because there's opportunity.
There's a lot of opportunity.
Think how many shots there are. We can get into the players now. How do they fit with him?
Yes.
Dejon Lucas, as we said, I don't think he's ever going to be an elite point guard in this league.
Defense, though.
I think that's what Underwood's going to love about him.
Yes.
Gets into people. And as he adds strength and actually has an off season to add that strength, I think he can be the head of a defense that gets into people.
I do too.
Because he was good this year just keeping people in front of him. Once he adds that strength, he's got that basketball IQ. He helps people get open, distribute. I think Underwood's really going to like him. Dejon, I don't think he's ever going to be your best player.
Agree.
But I think he can be a very good leader and head of the defense for
That's perfect. I like that idea. And then you've got a guy like JCL who you think would love this quick strike offense that Brad Underwood likes. And I'm talking about that 7-second thing. If it happens a few times, how many times do we see JCL anyway?
Right, in transition.
Down? I mean, I want to see.
Who do you think takes the big scoring leap next year?
I want to say JCL.
I think he's the most likely. I think him and Finke are the most likely.
I think they're going to have a chance. LaRon, I had really big expectations, and I still have great expectations.
I still think LaRon, out of all these players, could be the best.
Yes.
We'll get to that. But if I had to ask you, JCL went from 42% three last year to 36.5 this year. Not a huge downgrade.
No.
But I think he needs an offense that gets shooters open. This offense gets shooters open.
Coaching
and it
will help
encourages shooters to take quick shots when they're open in transition. Now, he's got to get his butt up and down the court.
He does.
And on defense, I think Underwood's going to have to break him a little bit.
No doubt.
Because he has not shown the effort or focus on defense quite yet. But I think he's got the length and quickness to do it. But if I'd ask you, what percentage of JCL shots are threes? Like, of all shots he takes, what percentage are threes?
You mean for next year or far?
This year. How many do you think were threes?
Oh, man. I don't remember him shooting many twos.
72.5%.
I was going to say 70%.
72.5% of his shots are threes.
Unbelievable.
He's got to become less one-dimensional.
He does.
And I love him shooting threes. I don't want him not to shoot threes. And I couldn't understand when I asked John Gross, how do you get his game more dimensional? He's like, well, we're not going to stop him from doing what we do. But you can add to his game.
Yeah.
He's got to get runners, pull-up jumpers, and he's got to add strength to get those contested layups.
That's correct.
Because he can get there.
Yep.
He just hasn't been able to finish.
That's great if you're on an excellent team and it's a team that's winning at a high level, and then, oh, by the way, we got our sharpshooter here that can come in and knock down. He can shoot you out of a zone. But in a situation where you need JCL to be complete, he and LaRon and Michael, that's a lot of expectations now on them as juniors.
JCL needs to be scoring more than 13 points a game next year.
Without a doubt.
8 this year. He had 8 this year. He needs to average at least 13 points a game. LaRon Black averaged 8.6.3 rebounds this year. He fell in love with that mid-range and three-point jumper. What percentage of shots do you think LaRon Black took at the rim this year?
At the rim?
Yeah. How big of a percentage of shots?
He had some offensive rebounds. He's a decent offensive rebounder. I'll say, 30, 40%.
Half that first guess.
15%?
15% of his field goal attempts were at the rim.
And this is LaRon Black you're talking about, not JCL.
Shot about 70-something% of his shots were mid-range twos.
Wow. Yeah, that's got
to change a little bit. That's a weapon. Nigel Hayes has that weapon.
Sure.
Nigel Hayes, and I don't mind LaRon shooting open threes.
No.
Because he can make them. But he needs to get around the rim. And one thing about Underwood's scheme is they crash the boards.
Yes.
And who better to do that than LaRon Black?
Boom.
He needs to get more explosive. I don't know if that knee is hurting him, but he doesn't finish well around the rim either.
He really doesn't.
He needs to finish better. He needs to be stronger and dunk the ball.
Yes.
Like he kind of tries to lay it up real quick.
Right.
Instead of just go up there, dunk the ball. If you get fouled, and you get free throws, and you're pretty good at it.
You get a better percentage of making a shot if you dunk it.
And the other,
I'm telling you.
LaRon Black, I think, and this might sound crazy, he's 8-6 this year. I think he can average a double-double.
Oh, I don't doubt that either. Jeremy, I really don't.
I think he.
I don't.
I think he can do it.
He might
in
need
this
to
scheme,
for this team.
as long as he stays on the court. The fouls and defense, he's not very good at, but if he stays on the court, I think that's a double-double guy. And we've talked about Michael Finke. I think he's the guy who can benefit most from this offense because there's a lot of high post entry. He's a great passer.
Yes, he is.
He's a great shooter. 53% this year, 40% from three.
That's impressive.
He's a negative on defense, but he's also a very good offensive rebounder.
Yes.
And with him and Black doing that, I think he can get a lot of easy buckets. I think he can be a double-digit scorer next year, too.
I think on March 23rd of 2017, we've already identified what's going to be an issue next year, and we keep saying it with each guy as we talk about their positives. We talk about that big negative, and that's defense.
But you know what? You got a coach now who didn't have a good defense this year. Figured out, early on they forced a bunch of turnovers and it worked. And then they struggled.
Yes.
And they were one of the worst defenses in the country for 6 games. And then he changed it. And it worked for him.
So you can do that? Games. That is legal then?
You can make adjustments mid-season.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that is legal.
How about in a game? Could you possibly... that is an NCAA rule. You can't do that, right?
I think they call that halftime adjustments.
Oh. See, I just assumed the last few years that this is getting personal now. I'm not going to stop.
No, this is coaching. This is all fair game.
It is. And
he got out coached.
Yes.
Now you have a guy who makes adjustments, is willing to change things. Hopefully he can get the most out of these guys because Gross wasn't able to.
He wasn't.
He wasn't able to get the most out of the talent he got. you're hoping you have the guy who can get that, but also get more talent because they need more talent.
Speaking of next year's team, Stu in Champaign wants to visit on that. How are you, Stu?
I am fine, Mr. Tay and Mr. Werner. I have the answer to your question unless I missed something while I was going from the radio to the phone. Next year's go-to guy is named Jeffrey Carroll.
If he's eligible to graduate, he's got to graduate. And I heard that might not be a given right now, Stu. Yeah. So I know everyone thinks it's a given. It might not be a given that he's going to graduate.
Well, if you really want to be disappointed, if he doesn't come, go on YouTube, watch the first part of the Oklahoma State-Kansas game, and watch him drop double digits on Bill Self before the first media timeout.
I like it.
Dude can fill it up. You guys be good. Bye.
Thanks, buddy. We appreciate it, Stu. And as we talked about a couple days ago,
if people don't know, Jeffrey Carroll
he would fit perfectly.
Well, here's what happened. He was 6'6", 215 pounds. Redshirt junior for Oklahoma State. So if he does graduate, he was eligible to be a grad transfer. He's from Texas, and some people don't know if he wants to leave that far away from home.
Fair enough.
Right? But under Travis Ford, he averaged 4 points his freshman year, shot 30% from three. His sophomore year, averaged 8 points a game, shot 33% from three.
Okay.
First year of Brad Underwood in that system, averaged 17.5 points, 44% from three. And that's shooting 4 a game.
Wow.
So that's high volume, but efficient, averaged 6.6 rebounds. He's athletic. That would be your go-to guy. So that would be the ideal situation if he can be able to graduate transfer and come to Illinois. Yeah, that's your go-to guy, and all of a sudden your team could be pretty dang good next year.
There is a lot of to be determined.
Yes, I mean this roster could see half of it turn over.
Absolutely. And not only that, but with guys like that, with guys like Jeremiah Tillman, yes, the news today of Walker being retained helps, and I'm assuming or I'm hoping that Tillman still ends up here. I mean, Mark Smith, those are 3 big pieces to that puzzle for next year. And if those 3 all commit.
Trent Frazier.
And Trent, who seems like he's coming.
Yes.
But you're right. No, you're right.
He was at the game last night.
Yeah. So you're talking about Mark Smith, who could be a huge help. Jeremiah Tillman, because you don't have much size next year, could be a huge help. And then if you get a guy like Jeffrey Carroll, who could kind of be that go-to guy, if you add those 3 pieces to that puzzle, now you're looking at a team that could be pretty solid. I think still I'd worry about defense. I think I'd still worry it's the first
in the
year.
Big Ten,
but Underwood took a team that was 12-20.
But if we're talking about an NCAA tournament team, that's an NCAA tournament.
Should be. See, I'm so beat down now that I won't even come out and say, yes, it is. If
you add all that.
I'm like the pup in the corner.
That's like the best situation, best scenario, right?
Yes.
But if that happens, you should.
Good shape.
Yeah, you're an NCAA tournament.
Good shape. 359-2255. We're getting a lot of texts on the Chief Bauer text line. We'll try to get to some of those as we go along. And that number again, 359-2255. It is the Tay and J Show.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know it's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
When an accident occurs, you want to ensure your car is being taken care of by the best of the best. According to industry statistics, Tim's Auto Body is among the top 10% of collision repair businesses in the country. Major car brands have been quoted as saying that they're in an elite league as best in class when it comes to a business operation. Tim's Auto Body has been recognized nationally for their consistent high level of service and meeting customers' needs. With the complexity of today's vehicles, obtaining a certified collision center from some of the top manufacturers ensures Tim's Auto Body is up to date on all of the industry standards, as well as keeping their staff educated on all of the changes in the vehicle industry. Tim's Auto Body in Champaign. Why trust the safety of your vehicle with anyone else? Visit Tim's Auto Body at 701 North Madison, Champaign, or call 607-0119. Go to timtapman.com for more details.
Rosati's Pizza is serving up a special just for Lent. Fish. Yes, a pizza place serving fish. What a novel concept. Stop by Rosati's during Lent for a fish sandwich, fries, and a drink for just $8.49. Every Friday through Good Friday at Rosati's Pizza. Oh, you can still get your favorite pizza, but for Lent, it's all about fish. Every Friday, get a fish sandwich, fries, and a drink for just $8.49. Rosati's Pizza. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. 701 South Gregory in Urbana. 328-2334 and online at myrosatis.com/Urbana.
Twice a year, the doors to Memorial Stadium open for the most dedicated, most loyal, most thrifty Illini fans. Full of team-issued and team-worn apparel, with tons of Fighting Illini deals and steals, this is a stadium sale you can't miss. Illini Nation, you have 5 hours. One day, the biggest sale in town. Stop by Memorial Stadium April 1st between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. to get your gear before it's gone. Everything up to 80% off. Last chance. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Joshua 24:15 states, "As for me and my family, we will serve the Lord." If we choose to serve anything but God, we're cheating ourselves, and of course, we're cheating God. God gave us grace and mercy. Out of an attitude of thanksgiving, the least we can do is make the commitment to serve God. Whom or what do you serve? This message brought to you by the Blossom Basket Florist.
The Blossom Basket Florist, the florist you pick.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
The United States has won the World Baseball Classic. The United States! Oh. Am I supposed to be excited about that?
We'll talk about it later.
Okay, fair enough.
Let's get some quick texts in before we get the Metler Center injury report. A 217 texter. Do you feel Ron Black shot the ball too much? He missed a lot of shots. Thank you.
Was that your send back to him? He missed a lot of shots?
You said thank you.
Oh, I don't know that LaRon shot a lot.
He fell in love with the jumper. I want to see him attack more.
No, I agree with that.
He doesn't have a post move, and I don't know if he's a get it on the block kind of post guy, but he can face up, and if he can get a hook or something and then have a turnaround jumper. All you need is one or two moves.
Yeah, that's it.
Right, and perfect that. But he's a stretch four. He's not a back it down like Mav kind of guy, right? He's not that player, but he does need some kind. He needs to finish around the rim a little bit more.
But specifically to his question, and this isn't going against you, but specifically, I personally didn't think LaRon shot too much.
I mean, he was one of the better players on your team.
Just needs to take better shots.
He was. I mean, all right. If we're going to go this whole year, where did he? I mean, it was Hill, Morgan, and it's either Abrams or Black.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. No, yeah.
So I know he wasn't yet what everyone wants him to be, but he was still a good player.
I agree.
He just needs to get better. You need to get the most out of him, and I think this system with Underwood
can
help him.
Analytics, right?
Well, here's the thing. John Gross loved Ken Pom and analytics.
He just didn't know how to teach it.
Yes.
So hopefully,
Brad Underwood we can talk about, this guy's analytical. So is John Gross.
Sure.
It's just this guy has proven this guy just proves that he uses them well.
Yes. He understands it. I'm sure Gross understood it exactly. So that'll be interesting.
Gross is a math guy. He just didn't know how to employ them.
Exactly.
How to use them.
Exactly. And, listen, I mean, Dustin Ford, a little bit of the inside guy, too, with regards to the big men. So hopefully that will become a better shot selection for LaRon. But I certainly don't mind him shooting as much as he did last year.
It is time for a Metler Center Physical Therapy Injury Report with Jeff Schroeder, Doctor of Physical Therapy at Metler Center. How you doing, Jeff?
Doing well, fellows. I love your conversation on the analytics, and numbers are the universal language.
It's the one thing, Jeff, that I've had to adapt to on the Tay and J Show is that analytics means something in life now, and I just have to roll with it.
He thought we didn't have to do math anymore.
Right.
Hey, analytics are everywhere in healthcare and in sports.
Oh, man.
All right, let's break down healthcare now.
Yeah, right.
Jeff, Dwayne Wade has a right elbow fracture, out for the season. Ugh. What's this mean for him in the short term and the long term?
Well, from what I can tell, short term is we know they're shutting him down for the rest of the season. Now, the thought is if the Bulls were to make a playoff run or make the playoffs, could he be back for that? The one thing that I couldn't really find is what part of his elbow was fractured. So there's 3 bones that articulate, come together, and usually the fracture is on the humerus part, more towards the end where it connects to the 2 forearm bones. My guess is it was a radial head fracture, and the radius is on the thumb side of our forearm, and the radial head is the part that connects up into the arm, because there was some ligament damage, I think, and things were stretched out. But more than likely, it was a radial head fracture. To what extent, we do not know. So the thing is, he's probably lost some stability of that elbow, and oftentimes if you have some ligament damage and it dislocates, which it sounds like it did, they relocate it. You can also get some nerve damage because there's nerves that run through there and some blood vessels. So it's hard to speculate what exactly is going on, but for them to, pretty much shut him down the rest of the season, it's enough that there's some concern. Now, whether or not surgery is needed, don't know that either, but more than likely not.
Is it better to be younger? Like when you have younger kids, high school age kids that come and see you about an injury similar to this, is it better there? I mean, is there more, is it the heal time a little quicker and something like that, or is this pretty much with everyone about the same?
It's not the same with everyone. Kids generally heal faster just because their physiology works a little bit better. They're still growing. They're laying down a lot of bone. Now, having said that, kids, it's funny you bring this up. Kids fracture their elbows all the time. And if the problem with kids is if you fracture it, you have growth plate issues that you have to worry about. With Dwayne Wade, that's not an issue. So, and there's an advantage of being an adult and fracturing it, depending on where the fracture is. But yeah, generally kids heal faster. They're a little bit more flexible. There's not as much resistance to trauma. And let's face it, Dwayne Wade's been in the league, 13 years, 14 years, a lot more wear and tear. He's had some wrist issues. He's had total body issues, compensation. So I think as we age, you got the wear and tear factor, plus just like our skin ages, our bones age, our muscles age. It doesn't mean that we can't be effective as we age, but there is more wear and tear, and just the physiology does change.
If you have an ache or pain like Dwayne Wade, you can get a free consultation at Metler Center Physical Therapy. Just go to metlercenter.com for more information. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, fellas.
Good job. Good stuff there.
All right, coming up next hour, we hope to hear from former Illini head coach of the women's side, Teresa Grentz.
Awesome.
To talk about Nancy Fay, the new Illini women's coach. We'll also talk a little baseball, and we got some Sweet 16 action tonight.
Oh, basketball returns. We love it. At the NCAA level, that is. Of course, we had the NIT. It is the Tay and J Show.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda.
Let's go!
Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go.
Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
Debit cards are definitely convenient, but if you've ever lost or misplaced it, you understand the sheer panic that sets in. Prospect Bank, a division of Edgar County Bank and Trust Company, is offering Card Valet. This app allows you to take control of your debit card right from your smartphone. You can define when, where, and how your debit card is used, set up alerts, lower card limits, and turn your card on and off at the touch of a finger. Don't delay. Download Card Valet today. For more information, visit the Prospect Bank. Online at theprospectbank.com. Equal housing lender. Member FDIC.
This is Chris Raby inviting you to follow the Redbirds this offseason on the Cardinals Countdown to Opening Day show presented by Amarin. Join me along with Mike Claiborne for the latest news on the 2017 Cardinals. We'll hear from Mike Matheny, John Mozeliak, Cardinals coaches and players, and Cardinals broadcasters John Rooney, Rick Horton, and the voice of the Cardinals, Mike Shannon. Catch all the Cardinals action right here on the Cardinals Countdown to Opening Day Show, presented by Amarin on the Cardinals Radio Network.
Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Live from New York, the Fox Report.
I'm Lisa Brady. There's no deal, so there's no vote as Republicans try to iron out their differences on replacing Obamacare. Fox Radio's Jared Halpern is live on Capitol Hill.
Republican leaders have canceled that vote, which was expected tonight.
We have not gotten enough of our members to get to yes at this point.
Conservative House Freedom Caucus Chairman Mark Meadows does say progress is being made to meet demands that include rolling back additional insurance requirements. Meadows and other conservatives met with President Trump at the White House, but concessions to the party's conservative wing could threaten support of moderate Republicans. A vote on the American Health Care Act could still happen sometime tomorrow. Lisa.
Jared, just before today's vote was postponed, President Trump making clear he's not giving up.
We have a great bill, and I think we have a very good chance, but it's only politics.
This during a meeting with trucking executives about healthcare impacts on their industry. London honoring the victims of yesterday's terror attack near Parliament.
Those evil and twisted individuals who try to destroy our shared way of life.
London Mayor Sadid Khan says they won't succeed leading that vigil. The suspect shot dead by police, now identified as a family man who lived in Birmingham.
He was 52. He was born in Britain and had a spate of prior arrests for possession of weapons and assault. He had also, most tellingly, been under prior investigation for extremism, though the government claims he had dropped off the radar some time ago.
Fox's Benjamin Hall, 8 people arrested in raids following the attack. Late reports of a suspicious package found near Westminster, possibly detonated, as the investigation continues. Stocks finished lower after the healthcare postponement. The Dow down 4 points. Fair and balanced.
In your business, you trust people who time and time again get the job done. At Indeed.com, we deliver 5 times more hires than any other job site, according to independent research. That's why over 3 million businesses use Indeed when they're hiring. Because getting the job done matters. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Are you concerned about your prostate? Do you pee more often than you used to? Be honest, is there a drop in your romantic life? You need to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate. With Super Beta Prostate, you'll have less urges to urinate, less waking at night, and an improvement in your romantic life guaranteed. Try it free. Pay only shipping and handling.
Call 1-800-467-5059. 1-800-467-5059. 1-800-467-5059.
Will the U.S. Senate go nuclear over Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch now that Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is planning to filibuster?
The Republicans held a Supreme Court seat open for a year under a Democratic president who was under no investigation, but now are rushing to fill the seat for a president whose campaign is under investigation.
Alluding to the ongoing Russia-related probe in Congress, the White House not saying whether the president would support lowering the confirmation threshold to a simple majority vote. Confirmation hearings for Gorsuch wrapping up today. The Senate Banking Committee holding a confirmation hearing for the Wall Street lawyer tapped to lead the Securities and Exchange Commission.
This is a huge change for me and my family, and I'm committed to doing this.
Jay Clayton wouldn't rule out a return to professional life in the future, but says he would recuse himself from any potential conflicts of interest. Democrat Brian Schatz suggesting that may not be enough.
It's not purely a matter of whether there's a square conflict and whether you do the recusals properly, but whether those relationships infuse all of your thinking about your own life and about the decisions before you.
Republicans say Clayton's Wall Street experience will be an asset. Another nominee that stirred controversy wins confirmation. Bankruptcy lawyer David Friedman will be U.S. ambassador to Israel. The Senate vote mainly along party lines. The State Department not confirming reports that a top official will recommend approval of the Keystone Oil Pipeline tomorrow, just ahead of the president's 60-day review deadline. State Department spokesman Mark Toner.
We were asked to, again, look at, review the findings with regard to this pipeline and its impact. We're in the process of doing that. Certainly, we're looking at all the factors.
He says no decision has been made, but that any announcement would likely come from the White House. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
Just getting shots in. Just getting shots.
We need security.
Get our interns out of here.
Security, please.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you comfortable all year long, whether you need heating or cooling. Call the experts at 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 45. Friday, much warmer, mostly sunny, high 74, a low of 56. Saturday, thunderstorms, high 67, a low of 52. Right now, overcast, 48 degrees and windy in Champaign-Urbana.
I think it's time, and I think our YouTube watchers would enjoy it, that we did a segment where you and I were on the air, and Harry and Tyler were behind us shooting hoops. I think it's time for that. They just couldn't talk.
We did lie the other day. Like, Harry threw one up behind his back.
Yeah.
And we all reacted like he made it.
Ah! And he
because you can't see the hoop.
Right.
On the YouTube. And we all acted like he made it. And somebody texted in, oh my God, that was the coolest shot. What a shot by your intern.
What a shot by the intern.
So we pulled it off. We pulled it off well.
That would be fun, though, to have these two right behind us doing it. I don't know what still Harry's asking me. He said it would have been 4 in a row. Oh, he would have made 4 in a row, and we cost him that.
Making 2 in a row is really difficult.
It is.
On our rim that gives nothing.
This is not. I know all of you out there listening are like, oh, boy, come on, Nerf hoop. Like Stephen Bardo said, he was the bedroom Nerf hoop champion of the world.
You're dunking every time.
This hoop is the tight rims.
Yeah.
Tight rim alert.
And we're shooting jumpers here.
Yes, we are.
We're not just doing layups.
No, that's exactly right.
Dunks.
We used to do that in high school. We'd come out, we'd warm up, and it'd be like, guys, tight rim alert. This rim is not good to shoot on.
Yeah. So if you want to weigh in, 359-2255, that's 217-359-2255. The texter just said we should do a play-by-play of a game of horse.
I'd have to watch it behind my head. Jeremy would be
watch
able
it on the YouTube there.
Right, I'll watch it on YouTube, and I'll comment on the shot, and then you let me know if it goes or not.
I'll be the color guy.
You be the color
break down
guy.
the form of Harry.
Harry with a dribble and a Polaroid. Fade away.
We'll talk some baseball later this hour. Also hoping to hear from former Illini women's coach Teresa Grentz. We'll talk about Nancy Fay, the new Illini women's coach, who will be introduced at a press conference tomorrow.
Okay.
But we got some NCAA tournament action tonight. But before we get to that one, Georgetown fired John Thompson III. He was there for 13 years, back-to-back losing seasons, known for a lot of early NCAA tournament exits during his time there. That program, though, has just kind of faded.
It has.
Of course. I mean, in the 80s, there were a few programs bigger than Georgetown.
I mean, we all romanticize my age about the 80s in the NBA with Larry and Magic and Doc and all those guys. What about the 80s in the Big East with St. John's and Chris Mullins and, of course, Georgetown with Patrick Ewing and Villanova the year they won it. I mean,
Massimino.
Raleigh. And so, I mean, you think back to those Georgetown teams that were so dominant under John Thompson the first or second or whatever.
John Thompson Jr.
But, then all of a sudden, this John Thompson III comes in and, had some good runs. But you're right.
Do you know the name? Do you know the name of the guy that was in between them? There's a guy in between them.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this. I thought it was just a transition from one to the other.
No.
Longtime assistant for Georgetown.
I don't know.
Craig Esherick.
No, I don't remember
Craig Esherick.
I do not remember that.
He made one NCAA tournament in his 5 years, made 3 NITs, and they declined an NIT bid.
Isn't it unbelievable that Georgetown, who really has been, it's kind of like this last decade, like Illinois basketball a little bit, but they were on top of the world.
I mean, they won the Big East in 2007, won the Big East in 2008. They made a Final Four in 2007.
Oh, did they really?
And they won the Big the Big East in 2013.
Okay.
They finished second a couple years ago.
Well, they had Otto Porter, of course, who was really good. But, yeah, they were the proverbial team that would get in there, and you could almost guarantee a first-round loss, and guess who never did?
Didn't John Gross beat them one year?
Is that right?
I think so.
I think they're the team, and then New Mexico. Those are the two teams that you're always like, Lon, why would you ever have them advancing?
I never had Steve Alford advancing.
And I always
this
did.
year I have UCLA in the Final Four.
I always had Georgetown and New Mexico advancing, and I'd get burnt every time. But, this is a what have you done for me lately? Now, listen, I think it's pretty cool what that university did with regards to having a Thompson coaching that for so long. What'd you say, 35 of the 4 years?
Yeah, and they
it's
both.
Neat.
Obviously, John Thompson Jr. had ridiculous success when guys stayed for. Can you imagine Patrick Ewing?
No.
Never would have known him.
No.
Nowadays.
That's exactly right.
Alonzo Mourning the same way, but 4-time Big East champions in the 80s, and then he won another one and another couple in the 90s.
Wow. Is Ewing going to be the next coach?
It's a possibility.
Doesn't that make
They're national
sense?
Champions in 84,
Okay.
made the national final in 1982 and 85. So they were one of the programs along with North Carolina.
They had
Duke.
the cool jersey with the undershirt under.
Yeah.
Like they kind of made that cool back in the day. I know UNLV did that and stuff, but before them, Georgetown always wore the gray undershirt with the gray jersey. And for some reason, it just worked. And Patrick Ewing's undershirt or whatever I'm trying to say, T-shirt was so small.
Think
like it barely come past his shoulders because he was so big.
Big men who've been through there: Ewing, Mourning, Mutombo, Roy Hibbert, Greg Monroe.
Those are all
and
five.
then, of course, the best player who ever played there might not have been Ewing. It's Allen Iverson.
The answer.
Was there for 2 years.
He was unreal. 2 years and then had an unbelievable career in the NBA. But, yeah, Georgetown was fun, man. They've had some really fun times. And I imagine if you're fans of that team and you're thinking, like if you're my age and you're thinking back to your past of Georgetown, you're really in the dumps right now, depressed. Yeah. So I think it's probably time. I'm sure they paused.
Do they get outside
before they got rid of Thompson?
Do they get outside that family? Like, do you get outside the Patrick Ewing? Because Ewing would be a really good candidate. He's associate head coach at the Charlotte Bobcats. I think he would have interest, or more interest than any other college coaching job. Otherwise, I think he'd stay in the NBA. But do you want to get away from that?
That's a good question.
Or do you want to give him the chance to kind of revitalize the best, besides Iverson, the best player? Him and Iverson are the best players, but he's the iconic one that people think of for Georgetown, right? Ewing would give you a lot of that.
He would. He'd give you some cachet.
But, Chris Mullen hasn't gotten it off the ground at St. John's yet.
No, he
either.
hasn't. This would be a risky hire, I think, with Ewing.
Yeah.
It would be risky only because you could, if it flops big, then all of a sudden now Georgetown, you're going to go 4-5. Yeah. And see, that's what, when Illinois talks about a former Illini as the coach, wouldn't you hate that if they were and then it goes sour? And eventually it's going to, right? Yeah. Unless they just coach here and succeed big time. I just think that's kind of a risky hire with Ewing, but it could also be a big hire if he goes in there and is able to recruit. I would assume, Jeremy, if you're a big man in this country, coming up through the ranks and you had a chance to go learn from Patrick Ewing, I think I would be pulled by that. I would be interested in that.
Some people are mentioning Tommy Amaker.
Okay.
Is a possible name.
That fit.
For that job. It'd be interesting.
It would be. Well, Georgetown just hasn't been.
Dan Hurley, another name.
Dan Hurley. Okay. That's interesting. Are they still in the Big East?
Georgetown?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they don't have football, right?
That's right, yeah. I'm so confused now on what East Coast teams in the Pac-12 and what West Coast teams in the Big East.
Yeah.
I'm so confused by all of it still that I forget about Georgetown. But you're right. They've fallen off. You just don't hear about them.
Tom Crean?
Ooh. I don't think that's a fit.
I don't either. Did you hear Carp? Carp got a voicemail yesterday from some random guy. Didn't leave his name, but we think it's funny that Carp got a voicemail of some random information. This could be like a new segment for us. He said Tom Crean to DePaul.
What?
Book it.
So just a random dude called Carp and said that.
Tom Crean to DePaul.
I love this segment.
He said other things.
I love this segment
But
idea.
I found it really interesting. I think it'd be a great fit. It'd be a great hire. But, Dave Lato has only been there 2 years since he came back.
Second stint.
Hasn't had a lot of success. But
DePaul, can they just continue to stink? please just continue to stink, because there is enough issues with trying to recruit Chicago than if DePaul ever became Ray Myers good again with Mark Aguirre and that crew. I
think it's going to happen.
I don't think so either. I'm not too worried about it, but it is interesting that they didn't really have that much success under Leto, and then they invite him back for a second stint.
By the way, the Indiana gig, I heard they're going to be patient.
Yeah, what is going on? I was going to ask if anything broke on this
They're
yesterday.
going to be patient.
Okay.
I think Alford's their top guy, at least for some people.
Makes sense.
But he's polarizing,
Still playing.
given what happened with Pierre Pierce and how he defended him throughout that process. And, Billy Donovan, they're swinging for him. I don't see that happening.
I don't either, but he's still coaching.
Tony Bennett's been mentioned a lot, which is why I don't think Josh Whitman waited, because he didn't want to wait on Indiana to flirt with everybody and then have to miss on some people like Brad Underwood.
I still think Greg Marshall makes so much sense at Indiana.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
I
think he'd want it. I don't think.
I do too.
I don't think his personality will go over
fit
well
there. Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, he's kind of a tough dude. It'd be interesting to see him, and I think he can win high level there.
Yeah, they're going to take their time, because there's no job that'll compete with them.
No, not at
they're
all.
the best job by far. Out there right now.
They can afford. They are the one university. Well, not the one, but right now with the openings now, they can afford to let the NBA season play out if they've got that target on their. If a Billy Donovan is that guy.
Okay, so the NCAA tournament games tonight.
How scared would you be if Donovan got that job in Indiana? And when I say scared, like act like a fan for a minute.
That'd be a phenomenal hire.
I mean, I think that if I were a Big Ten team, I'd be like, ew.
Why would he leave?
No, I'm with you there. I don't think
every
he's going
Indiana fan thinks is like the greatest job in the world.
Right.
Almost every NBA job is better than the Indiana job.
Yeah. No, you're right.
But in particular, the 10 with superstar Hall of Fame players.
You're coaching an MVP right now.
Right.
You're coaching the best player in the league.
You're coaching a Hall of Famer.
Or not the best player, but you know what I'm saying.
And Russ is going to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes $6 million a year. And he doesn't have to recruit.
Nope.
Why would he leave?
He's not. He's not going
guys,
to. And he scratched the itch. He won 2 titles.
The NBA is the destination for most of these guys.
He succeeded
I know
in
you
college.
love your college basketball, but that's not the... I mean, look at Brad Stevens.
I know.
They talk about that. Why would he leave the Boston Celtics, who are set up to have some of the best, they have the best assets in basketball of teams that don't have LeBron James?
That's where you're thinking a little too high of yourself.
Yeah.
That's where you're thinking just a tad too high of yourself when you think that Billy Donovan or Brad Stevens would be interested in coming back. I mean, Brad Stevens loves it with the Celtics. That is an up-and-coming team.
I know Stevens isn't happening.
No.
I've been told Donovan isn't happening.
No.
If they're able to get him, kudos to you.
Right.
But I just don't see it.
I don't see it either. He's got his 2 national titles. He did what he needed to do. He proved himself at the college level. Now prove yourself at the NBA level. These guys are competitors. They want to win at the highest level.
All right, Lon, let's pick against the spread tonight.
Okay, buddy.
7-seed Michigan is a 1-point favorite over Oregon.
They're a 1-point favorite. Man, when is this going to end with Michigan?
Why do you think it's going to end?
Well, I don't think it's going. I don't know that it's going to, but it feels like all of a sudden
it's a different team than it was.
It
mid-season.
totally is. No, it totally is. 1-point favorite. Yeah, I'll take them.
I'm taking Michigan.
I'll take Michigan on that one.
I mean, Mo Wagner, DJ Wilson, the way they're playing, Derek Walton.
Oh.
I love Dylan Brooks.
Yes,
and Tyler Dorsey's a hell of a player too. But I think Michigan's a freight train.
Derek Walton is a strong defender, and when I mean strong defender, I mean he's a good defender. But he's strong.
Yeah.
Like he gets his paws on you and he gets his thighs on you and you're not going.
Did you have Michigan going this far?
No. I had them losing the last round.
I had them in the Elite Eight.
Do you?
Because
okay.
I just saw that team during the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
I'm like, that team's as good as most teams in the country.
There were 2 teams that I couldn't fully grasp and wrap my arms around it. I don't know why. Minnesota was one.
Yeah.
And they kept proving me wrong until I did not pick them to win in the NCAA tournament and they finally lost that game. I wasn't rooting for it, and then Michigan. For some reason, I will not allow myself.
You know I will? John Beilein.
John Beilein. You're right.
It's one of the best. In my opinion, he's, when it comes to X's and O's, one of the top 3 coaches.
It's just amazing the high level of 3-point shooting, good looks, and makes that Michigan makes.
I hope Illinois found its Beilein.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
West Virginia against Gonzaga. The Bulldogs are 3-point favorites over West Virginia.
I'm taking West Virginia there.
So
I told you I've got
them in my Final Four.
Yep, and I've got them in the Elite Eight. I just think that style is hard to prepare for. This isn't a slam on Gonzaga like in other words, whoever they were playing, I probably would say no. I like this Gonzaga team, but I really like West Virginia.
Who makes the other team more uncomfortable? Is it Gonzaga's size or is it West Virginia's style?
It's West Virginia's style.
So that's what I think.
I
think they're going to take those big men out of the game a little bit.
The only good news with Gonzaga is they've had some time to prepare.
Yeah.
That's the only good news.
So did John Gross.
He had too much time to prepare, I think, for that one. But West Virginia is one of those teams, and maybe Brad Underwood's like this. You think about that second game 2 days later, they are tough because you can't prepare for that.
Yeah.
In one day, you can't prepare for a West Virginia. At least Gonzaga has had some time. This game's out west, too, right? Now, that will favor Gonzaga with regards to crowd, but I still think West Virginia gets it done.
Purdue, Kansas. The winner will play the winner of Michigan, Oregon.
I will take, not to win, but to cover, I'll take Purdue to cover. I think Purdue is going to make this an ugly game. I really, really think they're going to slow it down. They're going to try to beat it inside to these guys, try to get Kansas into a little foul trouble. Kansas is a 5-point favorite. I think Purdue covers, but Kansas still wins the game.
I like Kansas.
Okay.
I'll take the points, too.
Yeah, they'll end up winning by 30.
I think this might be your national champion, Kansas.
Oh, they're good.
Josh Jackson is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, most years he'd be the number one pick. It might be Fultz, it might be Ball, but he deserves it too. I mean, two-way player, ridiculously athletic, has a great jumper.
Mm-hmm.
He's ridiculous. And then, you put Frank Mason there and all the other talent. I mean, Carlton Bragg's like their 6th or 7th best player.
This is a small team. This is a small Jayhawks team, and I just heard a soundbite today from Self basically saying it's taught me how to. He's like, this is the shortest team I've ever had, and it's taught me how to coach with this style. And he said it took me a while to finally adjust, but it's adjusted. That's why Purdue has got to use their size. They got to use Swanigan. They got to use Haas.
Xavier Zona. Zona's a 7-point favorite. I'm taking Zona with the points.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? These stinking teams like Xavier and Butler just make it a battle.
They do.
Arizona
I'm probably wrong
wins.
Here. This is why I don't bet on games.
I know, right? Exactly. Arizona wins, but I think Xavier covers. I think it's maybe a 4 or 5 point game at the end, but I've got Arizona winning. That's interesting. These will be some fun games tonight.
Yeah,
man. Here we go.
I mean, when we look at this bracket.
I still have my pet peeve the other day. A buddy of mine texted me about this. You know when there's that quick timeout and you know it's only going to be of the 30-second variety and you're like, this would be the perfect time for – you've heard me complain about this for 6 years. Perfect time to stay here, diagnose this play, what's going to happen next.
We'll be back.
We're back. You're watching NCAA basketball on CBS. It's like, just stay. I've always said it's the easiest job in America to be a color commentator in NCAA tournament.
All right, if I had to give you the Midwest and East, you have Kansas, Purdue, Oregon, Michigan, Baylor, South Carolina, Wisconsin, Florida. Who are the 3 teams you think are most likely to win it all?
To win it all out of those? Well, for sure Kansas.
Kansas would be my top one.
Give me those again. I'm sorry.
Kansas, Purdue, Oregon, Michigan, Baylor, South Carolina, Wisconsin, Florida.
To win it all.
I think Michigan's my number 2.
I was going to say, I really honestly don't like any one of those other 7 teams to win it all.
No, I don't think South Carolina's got some talent.
They do, but and look at Wisconsin. Look at just how Wisconsin's just doing Wisconsin things.
I think they're going to make the Final Four.
And, they deserve it. And I heard somebody the other day is like, oh, well, look at the break Wisconsin has, in terms of, I'm like, well, they just beat a 1.
Right, they beat Villanova.
What break did they?
They deserve that break. They're the reason for that. Like, there is no break.
Exactly.
What, Duke lost?
Right.
Like, they wouldn't play them for another game anyway.
That's exactly right, and I think that's what they were projecting, and I'm like, there's no break. They just beat a 1.
The top overall seed.
I tell you what, too, Wisconsin can be dangerous. The swing offense.
The top of that bracket is much harder to pick, that third team.
It really is.
Then you look at the bottom of the bracket. You have Gonzaga, West Virginia, North Carolina, Butler, UCLA, Kentucky, Arizona, Xavier.
Oh, my. There's like 5 teams there that could win it all.
I'd go North Carolina.
Would you?
Yeah. UCLA.
Okay.
That West Virginia, Arizona, Gonzaga, Kentucky.
I'd probably go Zona next.
I don't think I'd put Kentucky there.
No,
I don't think
wouldn't
they score well enough.
I wouldn't either.
Probably Zona or West Virginia.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
isn't that amazing? I've got UCLA and Zona in the championship with Arizona winning it all. If that happens, I'm going to win a bracket.
I got UCLA and Duke, so everything's going well in my bracket.
Except on that one side, or on the bottom, I guess, bottom left, it's going well. All right, hey, we're going to talk some baseball, but we're going to caution you. that at any moment, and this isn't dangerous at all, but at any moment, Teresa Grintz, former Illini basketball coach, could be calling in. She wasn't able to say officially if she could. She's going to effort the chance to call into our show to talk about the new Illini basketball women's coach, Nancy Faye. So if we hear from Coach Grintz, we will trump everything else, and we'll bring her on, obviously. Otherwise, we get to talk baseball next.
That's right.
I'm excited for this. In fact, I get to talk World Baseball Classic, and I cannot tell you how much I want this next break to end so I can talk WBC. It is the Tay and J Show.
You already know Houlihan's Restaurant and Bar at the iHotel is a great restaurant, but don't forget about the bar. Fantastic drink specials and mouth-watering menu items from snacks to full meals, a nice selection of draft, craft, and domestic beers, and just about any cocktail you can imagine. Watch a game with multiple flat screens on all sides of the bar, or grab some tables and make it a party. Drink specials daily, plus Houlihan's is now serving a delicious hot breakfast 7 days a week. Houlihan's at the iHotel. Check them out at the corner of 1st Street and St. Mary's Road, just south of the State Farm Center.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda. Let's go! Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go!
Yes! I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
It seems like in every home, there's at least one room that's either too hot or too cold. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. Mitsubishi Electric has your comfort solution. Mitsubishi Electric cooling and heating systems are up to 40% more efficient with no ductwork and whisper quiet. Individual room control, giving you the freedom to find your perfect comfort level and save money too. Make your whole home comfortable again. See Lance Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing for your comfort solution and live better.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands from Lands Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Lands is your local Mitsubishi Electric Diamond dealer. Our technicians are experts at solving your comfort needs, one room or your whole house. Let us show you how a Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling System can save you money now. Your comfort is our priority. Call Lands today at 1-800-AIR-REPAIR or find us online at landsinc.com. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
It's finally time to make the short drive out to Lake of the Woods Golf Course in Mahomet. We are open for the golf season. That's right, our beautiful 18-hole regulation, 9-hole par 3 course, and the new foot golf area are all open for play. As always, we are an excellent choice for your family, church, or business golf outing. Or consider a more time and budget-friendly outing on our par 3 or foot golf course. Remember, our golf shop offers competitive pricing and is one of the best stocked pro shops in the area. Come enjoy a round of golf at Lake of the Woods Golf Course today.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted metals. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
Hey, this is Brad again with Kramer Siding and Window Company, and for over 60 years, we've been providing worry-free home improvements. If you've thought about either siding, windows, maybe you need to replace that roof, how about a deck, a pergola, awnings? We also have the 4-season sunrooms and screen rooms, or the gutter helmet. If any of those home improvements are in your near future, call us right now at Kramer Siding or stop by our beautiful showroom at 708 North Country Fair Drive.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Durakan from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days, mortgage loans, and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Cheeseburger, fries, cheeseburger plain, please.
429, I'm Jeremy Warner. This is your Sports Center update brought to you by First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. 11 days after John Gross was fired, the Illini basketball season officially came to an end. Malcolm Hill scored 29 points in his final collegiate game, but the rest of the Illini shot 23% from the field in a 68-58 loss in front of a sellout, raucous crowd at Central Florida. Illini shot 12 for 38 from the three-point line, out-rebounded 36-19.
38 threes.
They end the season with a 20-15 record. Hill ends his career third all-time in Illinois history with 1,846 points. Tracy Abrams finishes 33rd all-time with 1,191 points. So the Brad Underwood era begins in earnest, and it will start with Jamal Walker staying on staff. That, according to Derek Piper of IlliniInquirer.com. They will go down to St. Louis and meet with Jeremiah Tillman tomorrow night. Sweet 16 starts tonight. Early games feature 7 Michigan versus 3 Oregon and 4 West Virginia versus 1 Gonzaga. Those are followed by 4 Purdue against 1 Kansas and 11 Xavier versus 2 Arizona. Georgetown fired 13-year head coach John Thompson III after back-to-back losing seasons. He and his father have coached Georgetown for 40 of the past 45 years. Washington has released number 1 overall prospect Michael Porter Jr. from his national letter of intent. His father was an assistant for recently fired coach Lorenzo Romar. Missouri and other schools interested in hiring him. The U.S. won its first World Baseball Classic with an 8-0 win over Yadi Molina in Puerto Rico. Marcus Stroman earned MVP honors after throwing 6 perfect innings last night. NHL, the Blackhawks host the Stars tonight, and the Blues host the Canucks.
Red Hot Blues. Red Hot Blues. No Stasny tonight.
And Blackhawks.
I know. Stinking Blackhawks. Why you gotta be so good? Chicago. It is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lante, Jeremy Warner. We're going to talk baseball, and I am so fired up about this. We are so close to opening day, and just think it's Cubs-Cardinals to open things in St. Louis. Hello. Man, just think of a nice spring day with baseball on the dock.
I'm trying to count. I think it's 11 days away. From opening day of baseball.
I know every year you'd get to this point and you'd hear me say the same thing on the radio. I am so ready for baseball. I really am ready for baseball this year. I've got a unique way to look at this Cardinals team. I really am going to go into this season. I've told you, and I think it angers some Cardinals fans when I tell you this, I am just appreciative at my age of what I was able to watch almost the last decade with the Cardinals. And I don't know that I ever thought I would see that kind of a run of dominance by St. Louis. It has now made me just kind of relax. And the other flip side of that is I know how good Chicago is. I know how good the Cubs are. The Cardinals are not that good.
The pressure on the fan is low?
It's low.
As Carp would say.
It's low for me. And I am going to go into this season and just enjoy it. I want to see what the Cardinals can do. I think there's some pieces in place.
Yep.
I want to see what Colton can do. I want to see maybe eventually if Harrison Bader can sneak into that lineup. I want to see what Fowler can do at that leadoff spot. I love the idea of a Fowler, Diaz, Carpenter 1 through 3.
Yeah.
That's going to annoy a lot of pitching staffs. You're going to see a pitcher get through the first inning with about 38 pitches.
When do you give up on Colton Wong?
I think
because Colton Wong is your Gordon Beckham.
That is yes, he is.
That could happen.
Yes, he is.
Like, I thought Gordon Beckham was going to be our Dustin Pedroia, our guy.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people thought the same about Colton Wong. Now, it's too early to call it a disappointment. Like,
no doubt.
Obviously, he's had some ups and downs. Mm-hmm. But when does that happen? Is it after this year? Is it 2 more years? Because, like, Gordon Beckham, we're like, there's a sign there. And
can I give you a hot take on this?
Yeah.
I think if Colton Wong, who is going to be given every opportunity this year to become the Colton Wong that they think he can be.
Mo is going to be like,
Yes.
Matheny, you're playing him every day.
Yes. And they're going to look for a 280, good defensive kind of guy out of Colton Wong. Cut your swing down, worry about on-base percentage, actually take a walk on occasion. They're going to give him every chance this year. Here's my hot take. If it doesn't work out this year, he's gone in a trade. The one thing I've always talked about with him, I don't think he knows what he's supposed to be. I don't either. And I think they've tried to...
I think the worst thing for him...
It's identity, isn't it, for him?
Yes. I think the worst thing for him is when he came up and started hitting bombs.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Because then he thought he should do that. What was he in the minors? He's an average guy.
And he hit 300.
He's a contact guy.
Yep.
Right? Get on base, speed. He'd have a little bit of pop.
Yeah.
He'd connect with one. But he hit some homers, and I felt like he thought that's what I'm supposed to do.
And that's what he did in Hawaii. No, he hit average.
Yeah, you're supposed to be a two-hole guy, right? You're supposed to be the contact guy. You're supposed to be speed on the base paths, not this home run guy. And I think he got kind of mixed up in all of that.
I think it's going to be a fun year, though, for Colton. I really do. I think he's going to start in a non-pressurized situations with regards to being down in that lineup. And I think they're going to assure him that you're going to listen, kid. You get here every day, put that uniform on. You're going to play. You're going to bat 7th or 8th. Just go out and have some fun. See what you can do.
This is weird, but they're the most interesting team of the three we're going to talk about.
They really are.
Because the White Sox, it's like I said it yesterday. I'd rather watch their minor league club. It's like the Cubs from a couple years ago, right?
Yes.
The Cubs, it's like, well, they're really, 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 really good.
Hey, they won 6 of 7 this
What's
week.
the storyline?
Right, exactly.
Like what is the storyline with the Cubs?
Their pitchers are kind of old. That's my storyline with the Cubs.
Schwarber a whole season in left field.
Oh, I can't wait.
Is he going to catch? How many games are going to catch? Like these storylines, it's like no, they're really good.
Oh, they're so sick.
If they don't win 95 or more games, I'd be shocked.
I would too. They're almost boring to talk about. They're really almost boring to talk about.
Yeah, it was kind of like that last year for a long time. It was until it gets to the playoffs, it's kind of not a story because they're just really, really good.
Every Cub fan's out there like, oh, we've had to hear about the Cardinals for all this time, and now all of a sudden the Cubs are good, and now you're not even going to talk about them. Well, it's because you're too good. You went past, you zoom past the stage.
It's like the Golden State Warriors and Cavs right now.
Right.
There's no storyline until you're in the NBA Finals or you lose early.
I'd rather talk about everything else. I'd rather talk about Westbrook. I'd rather talk about
the Knicks, the Bulls. Right. Like they're more interesting.
They are.
There's conflict there. There's not really conflict.
It's
with the
so
Cubs.
True.
Right. Well, let's do MLB next question.
What people don't understand is that when John Gross signed on at Illinois, he signed that contract, but he actually signed a 10-year deal with the Tay and J Show for this.
Next question.
But we have an opt-out. We have an opt-out.
We have the opt-out.
If we get a better one.
Okay.
Like if Lovey says next question.
We should have had Brad Underwood just say next. You know who'd be a cool next question, because I'd love the way she'd say it, would be Teresa Grantz. Because she'd be all ticked. She's got that Eastern accent of next question.
Bill Cubitt would have been good.
But
no, I think John, no matter what you think of him, his voice in this sounds really good.
Next question.
I mean,
there
is some
strong
behind it. Right?
He had some strong press conferences.
Raspiness to it.
Oh, I do like
he
that.
won some press conferences.
Right.
He did do that.
Yes, he did. All right.
It's in a great place.
Woo! Major League Baseball, baby.
Not a good place.
No, great place. Oh, I forgot about it. And I felt so bad for him then.
Well, you felt pumped up when he said it.
Yeah, you did, because you're like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, John Gross.
Got his chin out. All right, Lon, first question.
Okay.
What could get you to watch the World Baseball Classic?
Next question.
I honestly don't.
I had it on the last couple of nights. The biggest thing for me is there's two things.
Okay.
One is the time of it.
Okay.
It's on the West Coast.
Yes.
So the games start usually about 8:30 our time. That affected me. But I'll let you answer, and then I'll give another answer.
Okay, there's a couple reasons here. If you're ever going to get into the World Baseball Classic, it was this year, because you had a Puerto Rico team that was dyeing their hair.
Yeah.
It had Javi Baez. It had Yadi Molina. So for me in the Midwest, it had a lot of connections for me to really say, oh, yeah, I can watch Javi at second. I can watch Yadi, who's one of my favorite players behind the plate. And the second, but I didn't. I just didn't fall in love with it. I never know how much these guys take this serious because it's spring training-ish.
Everyone that doesn't play for the American team takes it really seriously. There's a nationalism to it. Like, if the Dominican wins that,
yes,
they're the kings of baseball.
Yes,
in
they
that
are.
country, in such a small country, to beat Americans, to beat the Japanese,
I get it.
The Koreans, like that is huge.
I get it.
For Puerto Rico, this small island, right? To beat the Americans last night would have been
huge.
like the pride of their country, which is going through a lot of rough times right now.
Right.
But for the Americans,
I know
we're sending our C team.
I kind of wanted Puerto Rico to win last night, to be honest with you. I'm not being un-American, even though I've got that German heritage. I honestly wanted Puerto Rico to win. It is an exhibition. The other thing is it's smack dab in the middle of basketball.
Yes.
And that's for me.
Yes.
Sorry.
The schedule would be better in December.
You're right.
The other thing, I want to see Kershaw. I want to see Sale. Yeah. I want to see Scherzer.
Yeah.
I want to see Bryce Harper. If you had those guys, I'd watch it.
I would too.
I know Marcus Stroman's a good pitcher. Mm-hmm. Not going to get me to watch.
No, that's the problem. And I don't even know. I said I would too. I don't know if I would, even if Kershaw was pitching. I'm not sure if I would. I sit there and I think about it, and I'm like, this is just more wear and tear on Yachty. Although, spring training.
Didi Gregorius got hurt.
Yeah.
For the Yankees.
See, that's scary. Yeah. That stuff's scary. But so, to answer your question, I don't think anything would get me to watch the World Baseball Classic.
Next question.
Juan Carlos Martinez, the Cardinals opening day starter. I'm going to ask it this way. Is this a slap in the face of Adam Wainwright?
Not at all. And Adam Wainwright absolutely had the back of Mike Matheny on this to say this is the right call. This is absolutely the right call.
He did that?
Yeah.
Or he should do that?
No, he did. I mean, he basically, they asked him, what do you think about this?
Oh.
And Waino's like, look, I think this is the right call.
Should you have to ask Adam Wainwright that?
I don't
should just say, Adam, he's the opening day starter because he's better than you.
No, I'm sorry. No. Matheny didn't ask Wainwright, I don't think. No, the media asking Wainwright. I'm sorry. Yeah, make sure we're on the page there.
Okay. I thought the Cardinals were like, Adam, can we have permission?
No.
Can Carlos Martinez start over here? Is that okay? Is that okay?
Is that going to cause problems?
Are we good?
No, you misunderstood me.
Okay.
The media asked Waino, and he's like, no, this is the right call. I think it's a great decision.
Yes, because he's better than you.
Exactly. And then did you hear what Wainwright said back? And this is why I want Adam Wainwright. We've always talked about who would be the ultimate guest on our show, and there'd be people higher than Waino, but I think Waino would be an awesome guest one time. But Waino said, well, you know what? But here's what's great about next year's decision when Mike Matheny makes next year's is that both of us are going to win 20 games. He's like, so I want to see who he picks next year. So, that's Waino having a little poke and having a little fun at Matheny, but I love it, and I know you love it. I know you love this.
Well,
you love Carlos
really,
Martinez.
The opening day starter, if they made it Adam Wainwright, I wouldn't have complained because it's really just a ceremonial thing.
Exactly.
It really doesn't matter. They're probably going to pitch the same amount of games if they stay healthy. But Carlos Martinez is the best pitcher on your roster, and he is your ace.
Yep.
And I think you should start treating him like your ace now.
I agree. They gave him the new contract, like $55 million. So now they get him the ball on opening day. Let's see how Carlos does.
Next question.
Jose Martinez is hitting .400 with a .510 OBP and 4 homers this spring. Lon, what contribution do you expect from Jose Martinez, a 28-year-old outfielder?
I've seen this before. Could he be the next Hazelbaker for a while that kind of excites Cardinals fans and slowly just kind of drifts off into the past? I expect some help from. I think he'll help this team.
Hazelbaker was the rookie of the year. Should have been.
He should have been. There's no doubt. There's
Not
no
Corey
doubt.
Seager.
No.
Hazelbaker.
But he was the skinniest dude that's ever played Major League Baseball. But listen, I think
Alexei Ramirez is the correct
well, that's
answer
true.
there.
Good call there. Jose will be, if he makes it, he'll be a nice little at bat off the bench. But come on, I'm not getting too excited about Jose Martinez and what he's done in the spring.
Next question.
All right, is it Jim Bowden or Bowden?
I don't know.
I always say Bowden, so I'm sticking with it. Reports, Jeremy, that the White Sox continue to work hard on a Jose Quintana deal, and he's dealing today.
Yeah, he threw 5 2/3 perfect innings. The last start, he had one in the World Baseball Classic where he threw 6 perfect innings.
So basically, he's thrown a perfect game the last 2 times out.
Well, he gave up a hit.
Oh, okay.
Gave up a hit today.
Then I'd trade him. Do you think the Sox trade him before opening day? And if they do, is it because of that hit?
No.
Because that one hit?
I don't.
Okay.
Because I think the White Sox value him like a top 15 starter in the league that he is.
Okay.
But other teams are not willing to pay that price. The Astros make the most sense in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have rather traded him in the offseason when there are more teams involved.
Right.
Than at the deadline, but maybe a team will get desperate. I think the White Sox are willing to trade him and would like to for another Adam Eaton or Chris Sale Hall.
Fair enough.
I don't think it's out there, but I don't think they need to trade him.
Okay.
You got him for 4 more years.
No doubt.
Right? He could be the ace of your staff.
When you're starting to get really good. And I would think about long and hard about that if I'm White Sox.
So everybody that's like, the White Sox got to trade him. No.
They don't.
They don't.
They don't.
He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. You should value him like that, not just trade him just to trade him.
You show him a little love, too, in these next 3 years. Maybe he agrees to a decent little deal to extend that. And then you got your starter for the next 6-7 years. A good starter.
He's
starter.
the best deal in baseball for the next 4 years.
So you don't think they trade him before opening day is the answer.
Next question.
All right, I'll ask you this. Which White Sox prospect will make it to the majors first? I mean, there's so many of them. I'm dizzy on what their names are.
I think they'll keep Yoan Moncada down for a while.
Okay.
He's the most exciting one. He's had a really good spring. But I think they're going to make sure he's right. There's no rush for this thing.
Right?
They're not competing this year. You don't need to appease the fans by bringing him up there. Do it the right way.
Yes.
And I think Moncada needs about a half a year AAA, and then you bring him up. I think it's going to be one of the pitchers.
Okay.
Either Ronaldo Lopez. I don't think Giolito will be because I think they'll be patient with him, make sure he's right after a bad year last year.
Got it.
Or Zach Birdie. Out of the bullpen.
Zach Birdie, yeah.
I think it'll be one of the pitchers come up
like
in the
100.
Yeah, and maybe Lopez they can use as a bullpen guy this year or a fifth starter, but I think it'll be one of the pitchers before a hitter.
Doesn't that make sense, too? A bullpen guy is kind of the perfect guy to come in and just, you can kind of ease them in, right?
And Birdie would have come up last year if they were in a playoff hunt.
Okay.
That was kind of their plan.
So it's got to be him. Is he from A&M? Is that right? Texas A&M or something like that? But he throws gas.
Yeah.
And you can't have too many of those dudes.
Next question.
All right, Ian Happ, Jeremy, just another one of these stinking Cubs great prospects, is hitting 400 with 3 home runs this spring. How is he going to fit into the Cubs' future? Is this a guy that even makes it to the starting, up to the Cubs?
Here's the thing about Ian Happ. Great prospect.
Mm-hmm.
Where's he play?
Right.
I think he's there to be traded.
Okay. I think so, too.
Unless you're trading Javi Baez, which I don't think they want to do. But Ian Happ's a great bat. Not a great defender.
No.
But I think he's there to be traded. Because Eloy Jimenez, you're eventually going to get in that lineup. You know, one of those outfielders will get old or whatever happens. But I think Ian Happ is there to get traded. You just don't have enough spots.
Isn't it amazing? They trade Dexter Fowler, and there's still not enough spots for Ian Happ.
Well, they let him go, walk.
Well, I'm sorry, they didn't trade him. Yeah, but they let him go.
Ian Happ, trade him for a pitcher.
Yeah.
I think the Cubs and White Sox would match up for a deal for Quintana.
Wow.
Right, but I don't think it'll happen.
Okay.
But I think they make a lot of sense with each other.
Doesn't that stink? Just because they're in the same city, that they're not going to match up on a trade.
I mean, Ian Happ could be a headliner of a Jose Quintana deal.
Yeah.
If he did Happ and Eloy Jimenez, who says no?
Right. Maybe the Sox could call the Cubs and say, hey, we're essentially the Padres. So think of us as the Padres out here in San Diego.
Yeah.
Make this trade. Make this trade.
You guys are at the top of the world. Nobody cares about us for a couple of years.
Right,
anyway.
exactly.
Next question.
Juan, which Cubs hitter do you think takes the biggest step forward this year?
You know what? I mean, you could say Schwarber if he just plays 2 games.
Yeah.
I'll go Javi Baez. I started seeing things out of him in the playoffs that really showed me that everything, I mean, obviously he is a star. And you see defensively, you see what he can do, but he did struggle last year at the plate some. So I think Baez is the guy that he's going to come into this season with so much confidence, and he has got some brashness to him that I love.
It's weird to say this about a guy who had 21 homers and 95 RBI last year. I still think Addison Russell's got another gear.
Can he get another gear?
I think he can be an MVP candidate. He hit 238 last year, right?
What a punk.
321 on base percentage. I think he's a superstar. I mean, he's 23.
That's unreal. And gets to everything defensively.
Traded Jeff Samardzija for him. But yeah, I mean, he's a phenomenal defender, obviously. But I think he can hit 260 with 30, 35 home runs.
I do too. I'm going to go Baez, though, for the step. You got Addison Russell.
That middle, I mean, that infield.
Ridiculous. It's making me, listen, I'm starting to sweat right now.
Rizzo, Baez,
I'm sweating.
Russell, Bryant.
I'm sweating. I don't like this. I'm going to drown you out. I'm tired of hearing you talk about the Cubs. That's unbelievable.
We haven't even gotten to the outfield yet.
No, stop it! It's the Tay and J Show. Stupid Cubs.
Hayward.
The Upper Bout in Champaign, a music store with a different kind of attitude. Their showroom features high-quality brands from Gibson, Martin, and Taylor guitars to Vox, Mesa Boogie, and Analog Outfitters amplifiers. The Upper Bout's expert staff will personalize your experience, answering every question and setting up your guitar exactly the way you want it. Whether you're a lifelong musician looking to add to your collection or a lifelong music fan looking to buy your first guitar and take up lessons, The Upper Bout has you covered. Stop by The Upper Bout on Neal Street in Champaign, next to El Toro, or visit them online at theupperbout.com.
The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air, they all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team.
that lush green lawnscape is a result of a reputation earned through consistent performance. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, weed reduction, disease, and insect control. Now the ease and trouble-free convenience of Spring Green's professional lawn care's full program is yours at savings of 20% for new customers. It's backed by their guarantee of satisfaction. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com at 217-359-2111. Congratulations to Brian Tyson, our law enforcement official of the month, brought to you by FB Moran Security Solutions. Have respect for law and order.
I think you probably hit it on the head with teaching our kids. I do a lot of work with the college kids on campus. I mean, that's my population. Those are, 18 to 24 to 30 years old are the people that I deal with. And the diametric change in the attitudes of young people towards any sort of authority. I mean, and that's kind of a natural progression. But I listened to a gentleman speak, and he made a very good point. He said, everybody of our age complains about kids and the way they act and the way they are. And he said, kids are the same as they've always been. It's the parents that are different. And that really is the truth. I mean, you start teaching your children when they're young, what is respect? How many times do I go and I see somebody with a little kid point at me in uniform and say, oh, behave or he's going to take you to jail, which I automatically say, no, I won't take you to jail. You should be telling your kids if there's a problem, go find a police officer, go find somebody in uniform, not making them scared.
They're there to help.
Yes.
Announcing the Christian Sheehan Smoke Alarm Blitz. His family, friends, Red Cross, and the Champaign Fire Department will work in a Champaign neighborhood to provide free fire safety devices. But what does this mean to your family? Have you discussed an escape plan with your kids? Do you go to sleep with your bedroom door shut for extra time to get out? Dropping low to escape heat and smoke? Have you checked your smoke detector alarm batteries lately? Honor Christian Sheehan by having a plan and checking your smoke detector right now.
Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy.
Hey, Frankie, what you got there? It's an Italian Hero from Subway.
A lot of meat on that sandwich.
Well, yeah, Mrs. G. It's got mortadella, spicy capicola.
Capicola? Nice.
Genoa salami, oil and vinegar.
Is that Mediterranean oregano I smell?
Yeah, Mr. Antonelli.
What did I tell you? That thing is loaded.
That's a nice sandwich. You did good, Frankie. Real good.
Thanks, Sal. Thanks. Everybody?
Subway has the authentic taste everyone loves. Introducing the Italian Hero. It's our better Italian flavor for a better Subway. Limited time only.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It's real. I don't care who you are. Try to make 3 shots in a row with this Nerf hoop. Everybody gets tight. It's the Tay and J Show. Lonte, Jeremy Warner. We are literally breathing heavy now because of this game.
Workout.
Woo, this is awesome. That was good talking Cubs. I'm sorry. Well, all right. Cubs, Cardinals, Sox. Just talking baseball. Get that here, please. Get that game here. I love it.
If you haven't heard yet, we'll recap this at the top of next hour. But Jamal Walker will stay on as an assistant for Illinois basketball. That, according to Derek Piper of IlliniInquirer.com, we've been hearing for the last week.
Right.
Now, that seemed very likely. Underwood wanted to get it done. Jamal wanted to get it done. Whitman wanted to get it done. And now we'll go visit Jeremiah Tillman this weekend as Javon Pickett tonight, according to Mark Tupper as well. So that's big news that you can try and keep that class together and likely will. And then you can also try and go get Mark Smith, who Jamal Walker has a good relationship with. Has been the lead recruiter for the last, 4 or 5 months.
I find it interesting, and I thought of this the other day. Brad Underwood is 53 years old, and he is getting ready to go talk. It's almost like a job interview with guys like Jeremiah Tillman, with Mark Smith. He has to go sell himself, not the university. The university sold itself, I think, helped sell itself when they got these guys originally, although Mark Smith isn't signed yet. But here you got Brad Underwood at 53 years old. I wonder if there's some nerves involved And only because of this. I think once, like, the next recruiting classes in the future, I don't think there's any nerves because he's got, he's already coached under Illinois, et cetera, et cetera. These kids don't know him that well.
Right.
So he's got to go sell himself. And first impressions, Jeremy, we talk about it all the time. Well, we don't talk about that all the time, but people do. It makes a difference. Here's
the thing. Jeremiah loves Jamal Walker. You got that. Now you just tell him how he fits into your scheme and all those things and how you're going to use him. I think that's the way he sells that. Mark Smith, I think, really likes Illinois. And obviously Jamal has a relationship there. You got to sell him how you're going to use him. How's he going to play? How much is he going to play right away?
Right.
What do you know about his game? Like, does he know a lot about Mark Smith? That's probably what the last week he's gotten to know a lot more about these guys. And, that's what a lot of this is if you know a lot about him and you go into that meeting acting like you know him already,
boom,
I think that would make them feel comfortable. And then you sell your system, your scheme, and show how you've been successful, especially with Mark Smith.
Is there any similarities? And when I mean, I know they're both point guards. I know they're both really good. Any similarities that Underwood could sell to Smith with regarding Juwan Evans? In other words, by saying, this is what happened with Juwan Evans this year. Look how our offense ran with him.
Different players.
They are different,
because
aren't they?
Juwan is, if D. Brown were 6'3".
Good call.
That's what Juwan Evans is, right? Or probably he's not a great shooter.
Right.
D wasn't a great shooter until his junior year, and then his senior wasn't as good of a shooter.
It's a good analogy.
But speed, it's getting to the basket, it's setting people up. That's what Juwan Evans is. Mark Smith's a bucket getter.
Yeah.
Gets to the free throw line. Hits threes, can dunk.
He's a thick guy. Big kid for his.
We talked with Derek Piper about this. The best way I can explain him, and we'll see if he's as good as these guys, but he's got the physicality, the dynamic offensive game of Ravonte Rice. Right, that kind of physicality, football player kind of body.
Can shoot deep, too.
But also can create a little bit like Dimitri and shoot like Dimitri.
Wow.
Right? But he's got more athleticism than Dimitri. It's more like Ray because he can get up there and dunk on people.
Is Mark Smith starting to become like this mythical myth? Or, like this
it's a hell of a story.
Mythical figure?
Came out of nowhere, right?
Really did.
But he's a heck of a player.
It's so funny.
I don't know if he's a superstar right away, but if I had to put my money on guys in this class that could be the best player on the team, I'd probably put my money, if it's Mark Smith signs, that it could be him.
The reason that I covet a kid like that is because guys like you, guys like Derek Piper, Norm Sanders, guys like that have watched him play multiple games, and they love what they see. But it's funny that people all over think about all of our listeners right now that have maybe only seen him on YouTube for little variations, and now they think he's the best thing in the world. But it's easy to do, and the reason is because it's seconded. You know what you see. You trust your eyes. But then it's seconded by guys like Piper and you that say, this is the real deal.
This is interesting. Pat Kelsey, the coach of Winthrop, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Cheer got to win.
I remember.
Remember him?
I do.
So he accepted the job at UMass, signed a contract, and then asked out of it at 3:30 today.
What?
Yeah, they had a presser all scheduled to go at 4 o'clock Eastern. He backed out of it 30 minutes before.
I've never heard of that happening.
Andy Katz just released a list of this that's happened. Dana Altman at Creighton accepted Kansas and went back. Dan Dockich, Bowling Green to West Virginia. And then Greg Marshall accepted the College of Charleston job when he was at Winthrop and then went back to Winthrop.
Wow.
Billy Donovan with the Orlando Magic, right?
Oh,
they had
that's
a presser
right.
and everything, and then a week later he decided to go back to Florida.
Look at that. I said I don't think this has ever happened. You just rip off 5 of them that it's happened. Wonder what happened. Well, that Winthrop, man, that'd be twice for them. They're sneaky. They're sneaky. They come in with they just come in with a suitcase full of it's $100 bills.
We'll talk more Illini basketball. Jamal Walker, Teresa Grentz. Hopefully, we'll hear from her in the 5 o'clock hour.
Awesome.
Talk about the new Illini women's coach Nancy Fay.
Okay, it is Tay and J Show.
It's warming up around Champaign, and that means it's time to get outside and ride in a Polaris off-road vehicle. And the best time to buy is during the Polaris Spring Sales event. You'll find great financing plus rebates up to $2,000. You'll even get a free 2-year extended warranty on any full-size Ranger or any Sportsman 450 or 570 ATV. See your Polaris dealer now. Offers valid through April and vary by model. No charge for promotional 2-year extended warranty. See dealer for details. Off-road vehicles can be hazardous to operate. Always wear a helmet and take a safety training course.
Your 401k is likely one of your most important assets, but it's only one part of a comprehensive retirement strategy. Edward Jones can help you understand how your retirement assets fit into your entire retirement picture so you can work towards meeting your unique retirement goals. Contact me, Mike Kessel, your Champaign Edward Jones financial advisor at 1701 Broadmoor Drive, Suite 110. Contact me today at 217-352-0117, 352-0117. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
Hey, Frankie, what you got there? It's an Italian hero from Subway.
A lot of meat on that sandwich.
Well, yeah, Mrs. G. It's got mortadella, spicy capicola.
Capicola? Nice.
Genoa salami, oil and vinegar.
Is that Mediterranean oregano I smell?
Yeah, Mr. Antonelli.
What did I tell you? That thing is loaded.
That's a nice sandwich. You did good, Frankie. Real good.
Thanks, Sal. Thanks. Everybody?
Subway has the authentic taste everyone loves. Introducing the Italian Hero. It's our better Italian flavor for a better Subway. Limited time only.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda, or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go.
Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Fox News Radio, I'm Kathleen Maloney.
I would say progress is being made.
House Freedom Caucus Chairman Mark Meadows as negotiations continue on the GOP health plan. Fox's Jared Halpern is live on Capitol Hill.
The soonest there will be a vote on that Republican plan to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act will now be tomorrow, but only if GOP leaders can strike a deal and broaden support from within the party.
Go with our plan. It's going to be terrific. You're going to be very happy.
President Trump in that social media video urges Americans to call their members of Congress and voice support for the bill. The president has spent the day meeting with both conservative and moderate House Republicans who so far are still signaling opposition. Kathleen.
Thanks, Jared. There is a fourth victim in yesterday's London terror attack. Police say a 75-year-old man has died from injuries he suffered when a man drove an SUV into pedestrians on Westminster Bridge. That attacker was shot dead by police. Thousands gathered in Trafalgar Square to honor the victims and their families and to show unity against terrorism.
They will not win. We are all connected. And today we showed that by coming together, by going to work, by getting about our normal business.
England's Home Secretary Amber Rudd. British police conducted several raids in their investigation of that attack. They arrested 8 people on suspicion of preparing acts of terrorism. Jewish community leaders in Florida are concerned that a man arrested in connection with bomb threats against Jewish targets in the U.S. may not be the only one behind them. A Jewish hacker with Israeli and American citizenship has been taken into custody in Israel. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Writing job descriptions, sifting through resumes, setting up interviews. Hiring's hard, but Indeed.com makes it easier. Post your job, manage candidates, schedule interviews, all on Indeed. And since independent research shows that Indeed delivers 5 times more hires than any other job site, easy works. Right now we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Are you concerned about your prostate? Do you pee more often than you used to? Be honest, is there a drop in your romantic life? You need to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate. With Super Beta Prostate, you'll have less urges to urinate, less waking at night, and an improvement in your romantic life guaranteed. Try it free. Pay only shipping and handling. Call 1-800-467-5059. 1-800-467-5059. 1-800-467-5059.
Law against drinking and driving is about to get tougher.
Utah Governor Gary Herbert says he plans to sign a bill dropping the legal blood alcohol limit from 0.08 to 0.05, the nation's strictest threshold. Supporters say it could reduce drunk driving accidents and deaths, but Michelle Carigliano, who represents Salt Lake City restaurateurs, says it could hurt business.
People will be fearful to go out to dinner, and regular social behavior is going to be criminalized.
The 0.05 limit has been endorsed by the National Transportation Safety Board. The change would not take effect until December 30th of 2018. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Donald Trump's election as president doesn't violate the terms of his lease for a luxury hotel in Washington. The General Services Administration says the president's business is in full compliance since he transferred control of it to his adult children. The Senate Democratic leader says Supreme Court nominee Judge Neil Gorsuch is not a neutral legal mind, but a conservative ideologue.
That's all the evidence my colleagues should need to vote no. And I urge them and will urge them in the days ahead to do so.
Reaction to that from the White House.
We find Senator Schumer's announcement truly disappointing because it breaks with the tradition of how the Senate has handled Supreme Court confirmation votes in modern time and represents the type of partisanship that Americans grown tired of.
White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer. Judge Gorsuch gets a unanimous, well-qualified rating from the American Bar Association. The ABA contacted nearly 5,000 people nationwide about the Supreme Court nominee's integrity, competence, and temperament. President Obama's nominee, Judge Merrick Garland, received the same high rating, but never got a hearing. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News Radio.
Harry not only was a Division I Big Ten football player, he can make 5 shots in a row.
I hate athletes. Listen, he strived to get better every day.
He did.
Now that he's done it,
he's reached the pinnacle.
We're going to see how lazy he gets going forward now, the rest of his internship.
Fat and happy. Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer.
You know what? I'm simmering, too, because now I want to get
I
up
know,
and make
but it makes us, the competition fuels us, right? Oh. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you comfortable all year long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 45. Friday, mostly sunny, high 74, low of 56. Saturday, thunderstorms, high 67, low of 52. Right now, 48 and cloudy at Champaign-Urbana.
I am so fired up for 70 degrees. Ugh.
It is Drive Time, presented by Honda BMW of Champaign. For new and used vehicles, visit their huge inventory at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy, or visit them online at drivechampaign.com. Lonte, there's a recap of the first 2 hours of the Tay and J Show.
Well, Jeremy Warner, Illinois fans should rejoice because it sounds like, according to Derek Piper from IlliniInquirer.com, that Jamal Walker is being retained as the Illini assistant basketball coach, and we all know what that means. And I told you.
What does it mean?
Well, it means hopefully that Tillman is still in and that Mark Smith, you've got a legitimate run still at Mark Smith. I said to you, though, the timing of this is impeccable because Jeremiah Tillman and his mom are going to get a visitor tomorrow, and that is head basketball coach Brad Underwood. Now he's got a guy that's going to be getting out of the same car, and it's Jamal Walker.
The reason they're coming here.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, so that's huge, I think, for Illinois. It's not official, but it sounds like this is going to happen to Jamal staying on.
Yeah, it sounds like this just needed the NIT to end to happen. We've been kind of hearing that for a week. So they get it done. They agree to this deal. And for Illinois, what this means is that the rebuild might not be that big of a rebuild.
Right.
Next year it's a young team. So the team needs to figure out what its identity is. Underwood's got to coach it up. Who's the go-to guy? But there's going to be some talent there. And we talked about that's a kudos a little bit to Gross. That
yes, it is.
He wasn't able to get the most out of these kids, but he left this roster in a much better spot than he inherited. And we broke it down like, yes, Brandon Paul, DJ Richardson, Tyler Griffey. That was a nice senior class.
No doubt.
But long term, there was really nobody else on that roster that was impact players. Like Nana Egu and Tracy Abrams was it.
Good players, but
you had one junior in Joe Bertrand. You had no freshmen.
Wow.
This roster is going to have a lot of juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, and including the number 9 ranked recruiting class in the country, and it can be even better with Mark Smith involved in it. So that's kudos to Gross, but Underwood knows that keeping Jamal Walker is a big part of that, help him have some early success and build a very good program. Now it's up to him to get the most out of it, but I do think some of these pieces can really improve quickly with the right coaching, and that's why you brought Underwood in here, whether it's JCL, Finke, LaRon Black, Kipper Nichols, Tijon Lucas.
To visit with what you're saying, Brad Underwood's going to have to coach. He's going to have to really coach next year. When you think about it, you've got that class of Finke and JCL, of course, and LaRon Black. Those guys have been kind of inconsistent, especially JCL and LaRon. All three of them struggle at defense at times. He's going to really have to coach this up. Then you think about these freshmen coming in.
Jeremiah Tillman's going to have a lot of ups and downs, in my opinion.
Is. This is going to have to be a masterful.
Trent Frazier's skinny.
Yep.
Right? I mean, he's going to have to add some strength. There's a lot of work to be done.
Man, there's some excitement, though.
But now it starts, right? And you feel like you have a guy who can get the most. Like JCL is a phenomenal three-point. He's an elite three-point shooter. Mm-hmm. And now he has an offense that gets shooters open.
Yes.
But he's got to work on his defense, right? He's got to work on his strength, his focus there, and getting to the rim. 72.5% of your shots are threes. That needs to change. LaRon Black, I think with the right coaching and how he, Underwood really preaches offensive rebound, I think he can be a double-double guy next year.
That's awesome.
But he's got to get better on defense. He's got to get better around the rim. He needs to not settle for jumpers all the time, though that's a weapon for him.
It is.
Kipper Nichols, I think, could be a really good fit defensively and on the glass for him. Tijon, I think he's a great head of the defense. Now he needs to add some strength that can help him in that area and improve the shot a little bit more. But that's a good Big Ten point guard. And then you have Michael Finke, who I just think is a perfect fit for this offense where you get that high post entry, great passer, great shooter.
Underwood flipped from 12-20 at Oklahoma State to 20-12 in his 1 year. If he takes this Illinois team to the NCAA next year, that's not as impressive as what he did at Oklahoma State, is it?
No, because this team was a bubble team.
Okay,
right,
fair enough.
But I think if they should make the NCAA tournament.
But with
next
losing
year.
Their seniors, I'd almost say it's almost as impressive.
Yeah, no, they lose a lot, right? Oklahoma State had some talent there.
They did,
including a McDonald's All-American point guard, Juwan Evans.
That never hurts.
So he doesn't have that, but I think he's got some depth. He's got some nice pieces. Doesn't have a go-to guy. Now, we talked about Jeffrey Carroll. If he could be a grad transfer, if that happens, that'd be phenomenal.
Be huge.
But this is a rough Big Ten next year. You have an inexperienced team that's learning a new system. Yeah, they got to get coached up. That's why you hired this guy. And they should be an NCAA tournament team, or they can be an NCAA tournament next year. And if you got Tillman and Smith in 2 years, you could be really good. But if you just make the NCAA tournament next year, I think you feel like you got progress and a little bit of momentum going into the next year.
One last thing on this. Going down to visit Jeremiah Tillman tomorrow, and you said maybe Javon Pickett tonight, maybe Mark Smith. I'm not going to ask you about Smith.
Mark Smith probably not going to happen this week.
Okay.
Because he's going to Ohio State and Kansas State.
What can we as Illini fans expect to hear from a guy like Tillman and Pickett, let's say, with regards to, do we want to hear them say, hey, we met with Coach, we're still in?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we need to hear, right?
I mean, there's going to be follow-up reports.
Okay.
At IlliniAcquire.com. But yeah, there's going to be follow-up reports, and you hope they just say, yeah, we're good. That way you can calm fears and get it out there.
Perfect. Just get it out.
And maybe just say, yeah, it wasn't even a thing.
Yep. Perfect.
Right?
I like it.
That's what you hope to hear. I don't know how quickly you'd hear that.
Right.
But April 12th is, I mean, all these guys are signed. Those guys are signed.
Yeah, they're signed.
Right. Mark Smith is going to sign probably mid-April.
Okay.
And that's where you'll figure that out. But he's going to take a lot of visits, and I'm sure Illinois will be one of them.
So you're telling me just get my taxes done. Don't panic on that.
Well, we were panicked about Jamal Walker for 2 weeks.
Yes, we were.
Now we're panicked about recruits. What do you want to panic about after that?
How good the Cubs are going to be? How about that?
Let's freak out about everything.
Let's do.
NCAA tournament tonight. Michigan against Oregon. West Virginia, Gonzaga. Purdue, Kansas. Xavier, Arizona. Michigan is a favorite. Gonzaga is the favorite. Kansas is the favorite. Arizona the favorite. Most likely upset is what, Lon?
The most likely is the one I have, and it's not because of my bracket. It's because of the style of play. Illinois, you know them very well. John Gross, they may have cost you a job. West Virginia, that team under Bob Huggins plays that style that can put a lot of pressure on you, and Gonzaga's big. But, man, I think trying to adapt to that style with West Virginia, I like it.
You said West Virginia might have cost them a job. I look at 3 of these teams on their list, and I said they could. Michigan. Many times. Purdue.
That's
just crushing you.
Touche to that. I think West Virginia, though, would be the one. I think
what game are you most looking forward to?
That one I really am.
Michigan, Oregon for me.
Michigan for you. I hate that those two are the first. Can they stagger these good? Can they call us and say, what games do you want? Because I'd rather West Virginia Gonzaga be the late game. Let Arizona Xavier be early.
Xavier, Arizona, the least interesting?
Yes. For me, it is.
Poor Xavier.
I know. And all they'll do is make it a game.
Yeah.
I've got Arizona's a 7-point favorite. I got Xavier covering, but not winning. Kansas a 5-point favorite. I got this being an ugly game. I think Purdue tries to muck it up, tries to add height. Listen to me talking hockey. I think Purdue covers the 5, but Kansas wins. I got West Virginia winning, and we both have Michigan winning.
Yep.
That sounds right to me.
We also talked a lot of baseball. And the Cardinals are probably the most interesting team out of the 3 in this area. The Cubs, White Sox, and Cardinals, because they're kind of in the middle.
They are.
The White Sox are going to lose.
Yes.
The Cubs are going to win.
Yes.
The Cardinals are kind of the interesting one of
what they do.
What are they?
What?
I think they're an above-average team.
I do, too.
That can be a good team.
I do, too.
I don't know if they can be a great team, but they can be a playoff team, and all you got to be is hot.
I'm excited for a few reasons. Number one, the Cardinals played like crap last year at home, which is weird. I don't think that happens again. I think they get back to the dominant that they are at Busch Stadium, and hopefully that's 2 or 3 early to start against the Cubbies. Number 2, I'm really anxious to see what Dexter Fowler. If
you guys win 2 of 3 against the Cubs,
championship. I will be.
I mean, that weekend is going to be. You guys are going to be.
I will come in here without a shirt on and the Cardinals painted on my chest. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm really not going to do that.
I love early results baseball. Like April results.
You lose the opener. Dude, I do it every year. Like, if the Cardinals drop their opener, I'm like, no!
This isn't going to go well.
We're already below 500.
We're already trying to make up for this thing.
Yep, we're never going to make up that opening day start. But I'm excited for Dexter Fowler. I'm excited for the top 3 in that order with regards to maybe a Fowler, a Diaz, and Carpenter. I think the Cardinals can put some pressure on you. And I'm going in it as a not panicked fan this year. I'm going to just sit back and enjoy Cardinal baseball and see what happens. Because I know the Cubs are going to win the division.
Yeah, the Cubs are boring.
They are. You're boring, Chicago.
They're really boring because they're so dang good.
Yep.
We just went through that infield.
You are boring.
Yeah.
Oh.
4-year-old Andrew.
Oh. I shouldn't have done that. That broke.
Right, you are boring.
Oh.
Juan's going to cry.
Ah. Okay, just go.
That's Drive Time, presented by Honda BMW Champaign. For new and used vehicles, visit their huge inventory at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy, or visit them online at drivechampagne.com.
That's my baby.
You are boring.
Oh, man. I showed you that thing.
You need to do it? I got it.
Yeah, here. You do the Busey.
I'll do the Busey
Cliff
today.
will be like, thank God.
Taxes can be... That's right, taxing.
Oh, look at you.
Rethink tax time with Busey. Their associates are there to help every step of the way, and guys like me need it. With expert advice and innovative products and services, tax day quickly approaching the deadline. Not April 15th this year.
No, it's the 18th.
Tuesday,
right?
April 18th.
Easter.
Avoid costly penalties and keep money in your pocket by contributing to retirement accounts, organizing your records, and filing electronically. The typical taxpayer pays nearly $3,000. Make the most of your refund this year by paying down bad debt, building savings, retirement, investment accounts, or establishing or restoring an emergency fund. How can Busey help? Take advantage of My TurboTax at Busey. Tax laws are complex and change frequently. Visit Busey.com or stop by one of their many convenient locations to get started today on your maximum refund.
Professional. It is the Tay and J Show.
Sports Beat from Charlotte. Here's Dari Noka.
I realize it's unorthodox. Guy plays for the school, then becomes a member of the media, then wants to become the head coach for that school with no experience even as an assistant coach at a high level. Why would you hire that guy? Today, former Oklahoma State point guard Doug Gottlieb is interviewing for his dream job, to be the head basketball coach of the Cowboys. He's wanted the job for years and openly campaigned for it a year ago before they hired Brad Underwood from Stephen F. Austin. At the time, I couldn't understand why Oklahoma State would even consider hiring him. With his complete lack of experience, he was a media member, not a coach. Now I think they should hire Gottlieb. Underwood was one and done. Underpaid, yes, but showed he had zero loyalty to the school. It's a program that hasn't won more than one NCAA tournament game in 12 years. So what do they have to lose? Before Underwood, Travis Ford was a horrendous hire. He talked more about his playing days at Kentucky than he ever did about the team he led in Stillwater. He never connected with the fan base or the alumni. I know Doug well. The only thing he loves more than his school is his family. That's it. And he may not have coached at a high level, but he knows basketball as well as anybody I've ever known. I'm on board. Hire Gottlieb. Now more than ever, this program needs a Cowboy. In 60 seconds, stop giving him airtime.
Colonel Sanders here with a doozy of a joke. So, a king, a clown, and a redhead walk into a restaurant. What do they order? Duh. Their favorite KFC $5 Phillips, of course, because they're hungry. Get it? And because only the Colonel offers 5 delicious hand-prepared meals for just $5. Like the 2-piece chicken KFC $5 Phillip or the Tenders KFC $5 Phillip. You know, besides fried chicken, comedy has always been my true passion. KFC, it's finger-licking good. Limited time offer at participating KFCs. Tax extra.
First time skydiving? Sure is. Okay, you just open the door like this and you jump. Oh, wait. Should we be like in tandem? Tandem? That's a great idea. Are you a certified instructor? No, but I love parachutes and I love people. Here we go.
You wouldn't take chances with an uncertified skydiving instructor. Don't do it with your finances. Find a certified financial planner professional today at letsmakeaplan.org. CFP. Work with the highest standard.
LeVar Ball won't stop talking, and media outlets, including this one, won't stop giving him attention. Stop. For the love of everything, please stop. LeVar's son, Lonzo, is a superstar, and by all accounts, a great young man who hasn't let his lippy dad agitate him. Props to him, and good luck against Kentucky. But LeVar is a LeVar guy, and media outlets keep allowing him to spew his ridiculousness and get the fame he's looking for. I regret even mentioning him in this sports beat, but I'm only doing it to beg every other media outlet to stop with LeVar Ball. Please, with the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Dari Noka.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Durakan from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days. Mortgage loans and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When I listen to Audible, I'm not on mile 2 of my early morning run. I'm out searching for clues in the abandoned toy factory near the cemetery. As I make my way down to the basement, I can't help but feel like I'm being followed. Did that doll just move?
Who's there? They're getting closer.
I should really get a treadmill.
Go to audible.com/act now, and your first download is free. Audible. Stories that surround you.
Our Champaign County nursing home failed a recent public health inspection. They've been fined for inadequate care. Medicare has dropped them to a 1-star rating, and over 80 beds are empty. Seniors in our community deserve better. We've given the politicians who run the home over $37 million, and now have the worst-run nursing home in the county. Now they want more money, but refuse to make changes. We need to take the nursing home out of the hands of politicians and put it in the hands of a responsible organization that knows how to manage care for seniors. Opponents of a sale are spreading falsehoods. If the nursing home is sold, not only will no one be kicked out, but more seniors will be helped, and the quality of life will be improved for all. It's time to stop the political games and bring in professional management. On April 4th, vote no on the property tax hike and vote yes to sell the nursing home to someone who will give our seniors care they deserve. This is paid for by Save CCNH. Vote to sell.
When an accident occurs, you want to ensure your car is being taken care of by the best of the best. According to industry statistics, Tim's Auto Body is among the top 10% of collision repair businesses in the country. Major car brands have been quoted as saying that they're in an elite league as best in class when it comes to a business operation. Tim's Auto Body has been recognized nationally for their consistent high level of service and meeting customers' needs. With the complexity of today's vehicles, obtaining a certified collision center from some of the top manufacturers ensures Tim's Auto Body is up to date on all of the industry standards, as well as keeping their staff educated on all of the changes in the vehicle industry. Tim's Auto Body in Champaign. Why trust the safety of your vehicle with anyone else? Visit Tim's Auto Body at 701 North Madison, Champaign, or call 607-0119. Go to timtapman.com for more details.
Hey, it's me, your old AC. We need to talk, man. I am out of hair. Trust me. It's not going to get much better. I need to be replaced. Call the experts and get a new air conditioner that will save up to 50% on energy bills. Go ahead. Do it. I'll be right here. Whew.
At Chief Bauer Service Experts, save up to $4,000 on a new home comfort system. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com. For expert service guaranteed.
Call 866-EXPERTS.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
5:23. I'm Jeremy Warner with your Sports Center update, brought to you by First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. 11 days after John Gross was fired, Illini basketball season finally comes to a close. Malcolm Hill ends his career with a 29-point effort, but the rest of the Illini shot 23% from the field. 68-58 loss in front of a raucous sellout crowd at Central Florida as they stormed the court to go to the NIT Final Four.
Good for them.
Johnny Dawkins now 14-1 as a head coach in the NIT. Illini shot 12 for 38 from the three-point line, out-rebounded 36-19. They end the season 20-15. Hill ends his career third all-time in Illinois history with 1,846 points. Tracy Abrams 33rd all-time in scoring with 1,191 points. So the Brad Underwood era begins in earnest, and it begins with Jamal Walker being retained on staff. That's what Derek Piper of Illini Inquirer reports. They will head to St. Louis tomorrow to meet with five-star center Jeremiah Tillman. Sweet 16 starts tonight. Early games feature 7-seed Michigan against Oregon and 4-seed West Virginia against 1-seed Gonzaga. They're followed by 4 Purdue against 1 Kansas and 11 Xavier versus 2 Arizona. Georgetown has fired 13-year head coach John Thompson III after back-to-back losing seasons. He and his father have coached Georgetown for 40 of the past 45 years. Washington has released number 1 overall prospect Michael Porter Jr. from his national letter of intent. His father was an assistant for recently fired coach Michael Porter Sr., or Lorenzo Romar, I should say, and Missouri and other schools interested in hiring Porter Sr. Jose Quintana throws 7 shutout innings today, including 5 2/3 perfect innings. He's been in fuego this spring. 5 prospects.
That's the ransom. Hey, Prairie View Landscaping is continuing their 25th anniversary celebration by giving away a 55-inch LG Smart TV from Good Vibes. Email mypvdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote, and you can get up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com. Now, when you do that, you're registered to win that 55-inch LG Smart TV from Good Vibes just in time for the Final Four. Prairie View Landscaping offering up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care and a 55-inch LG Smart TV from Good Vibes. Just email them at mypvdiscount@gmail.com. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com.
It is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. If you'd like to weigh in, you can. You can call the Jupiters at the Crossing phone line or text the Cheap Hour text line at 217-359-2255. That's 359-2255. I don't often like to read on the show line, but...
Well, I was going to say, you read all the time.
Not on the show. Long pieces.
I see what you're saying.
But here is a story on the Players Tribune written by Mo Wagner. Of the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah, okay.
And I think it's really good. It's called Still Alive. You can go to playerstribune.com and read the whole thing. Really bright kid.
That kid is from where?
Berlin.
Okay.
Yes? I didn't know if you wanted to expound on Berlin.
No. Here's what's funny about this. I thought the other day somebody said he was from like South Carolina. And I was like, with the name of Wagner?
Yeah.
He's not from South Carolina.
Like if I were from Berlin, I'd be Jeremy Werner.
Right. So I was expecting you to say like Germany or something, and you're like Berlin. I'm like, all right.
Is that Germany? Are you going to ask that?
But you actually like, boom, you nailed it. So I'm back to being normal again. Because I'm like, why is Wagner
I had no response to it. Okay, I get it.
Carolina?
All right, here's what he wrote a little bit. It's like we were on Lost. That's what I'm thinking. Our plane is crashing. We're out of control. We're on the runway going some outrageous speed, and our entire team, all of Michigan basketball plus families, almost 120 people total, is in serious trouble. Our plane is literally going down, and I'm thinking about desert islands and monsters and time travel.
Wow.
I know what you're about to say. I watch too much TV. I can just imagine my parents reading this. That'll be their first thought for sure. Too much TV, Moritz.
Yep.
Too many movies, too many screens, more books. And they're right, of course. Sorry, guys. But it's funny where your brain goes in certain moments, how your thoughts don't always match up with what's happening right in front of your eyes. How you can have the scariest thought in the world right as the funniest thing is happening, or the funniest thought in the world right as the scariest thing is happening. I think it's almost like a defense mechanism in a way, cracking a joke or thinking about some random TV show at a moment when life is feeling bad or things are out of control. I think that's just a way of convincing yourself, that everything is going to be okay. And as our plane is malfunctioning and we're whizzing and bumping around and we're bracing for, the worst, I guess, that's when my brain goes, of all places. It goes to GoldenEye and to The Dark Knight Rises and to Nonstop and to Lost. And to all the other movies and TV shows I know that have a big dramatic scene on a plane, my brain goes to, this isn't happening. This is TV. This is a movie. This isn't real.
That is amazing.
And so my instinct for a split second is to break the tension, to joke about it. Maybe turn around and catch one of my teammates who hates flying, there are a few, with a uh-oh, smile, or drop a movie reference to someone who will get what I'm talking about. Something fun and dumb and hashtag jokes.
Yeah.
I look behind me to find my target. And what I see in that moment, I'll never forget. I just see everyone, this plane full of my Michigan family, with this look on their faces, and I don't even recognize. It's almost like an entire emotion that I've never seen before. I immediately turn back around. I lean over to look out the window. We're careening off the runway and into a field. Oh no, I think. Oh God. Oh no. This is actually happening. We actually might die.
Wow.
My memories from the rest of that plane ride are this weird combination, so vivid and yet such a blur. One moment we're bracing for impact, skidding down the runway, what feels like hundreds of miles per hour. And then the next thing you know, we're slowing down until evacuation. We can tell from the sound of the pilot's voice and from how scared the flight crew seems that we're not out of the woods yet. It's like they don't just want us off that plane, they want us off that plane now. And we just keep hearing these words shouted over and over. Evacuation. It's all happening so fast. And with this urgency that I don't even know how to describe, I'm thinking like, holy bleep. Sorry for cussing. And they worried this thing is about to explode? Mark and Tyler, thinking quickly, open the emergency doors on both sides of the plane. And man, it's crazy. I'm pretty much running for my life. We evacuate onto the wing while the plane is still moving.
Wow.
Like with the engine still going and everything. Then we climb off, only a few feet without the wheels, and as soon as we hit the ground, we straight up book it. I'm telling you, we're sprinting as fast as we can, as far away from that plane as we can get, and then for the next hour or so, we're all just sort of there.
Oh.
It turns out you can't simply call an Uber after your plane crashes. So we're standing around, all 120 of us on the runway with this giant plane stalled out on its belly beside us. It's almost like a beached whale.
That is weird.
It's surreal. We hang around the airport for a few more hours, and then we find out we'll be able to use the Detroit Pistons team charter for our flight. We board the Pistons plane. Funny to think how cool that would have been under any other circumstances.
Right.
And I'm not going to lie to you. Getting on a plane again so soon after a crash, I feel scared out of my mind. I think we all do. As soon as I get on my seat, I tell myself, and I'm going to try to fall asleep the whole flight, just so I won't have to think about what happened. And I'm right at the edge of sleep when something happens. I feel a vibration, an alert for a text from Xavier in our group chat, team group chat. I open the text. It's a prayer emoji. And then before I can put my phone away, another vibration. I have another alert from a different teammate in the same group chat. It's another prayer emoji. And then another, and then another, and then another. And then I send one too. Pretty soon, as we're sitting on that plane in total silence, all of us still anxious and afraid, I think for takeoff, our entire team is sending prayer emojis to the group text. It's like this, I don't know, iMessage group prayer. And maybe that sounds a little corny, but in that moment, sitting on that plane, it's exactly what we needed.
Wow.
And as we do finally take off on our way to the Big Ten tournament that seems so much to us, and in that moment so little, I just remember thinking two things. How glad I am to be alive, and how glad I am to go to Michigan. And then we get to the Big Ten tournament, and we win. I almost still can't believe it. We win the Big Ten tournament in our scrimmage uniforms with no practice and barely any sleep after a Scheiss. That's a German swear word. Don't worry about it. Plane crash. It's so cool. And then, after that event, well, it's time for another really big one. I'm talking, of course, about his big group project, and he goes into this group project and how much he loves to be a Michigan athlete.
This is unreal.
And it's really, really good read. But
that's unreal.
He's a really good writer, by the way,
yes,
for all of this. But he said, so call us a 7 seed if you want. Call us an underdog if you absolutely positively have to. Call us a Cinderella if you don't really understand what the term Cinderella means, like at all. And call us white collar at your own risk.
Oh, boy.
But don't call us a surprise. We feel like we had the best coach in the world, the best fans in the world, from the best school in the world, and in the best city in, come on, I'm from Berlin, America. And we think our team is pretty good, too. So we're going to go out there and really just do what we've done all along, our thing. And if we can just do that, then I think there's a really good chance that we'll be able to keep on saying the only 3 words that matter in March. The 3 words that have taken on an extra special meaning for us over the last few weeks, a meaning that goes well beyond basketball and far beyond my madness and far beyond everything else. If you can excuse a little more of my German humor, we're still alive.
That is really good.
Well done, Mo.
That is really, really good. For a kid that's not even from America, I mean, to be able to just put, I mean, wow.
Intelligent kid, smart kid, phenomenal basketball player, playing the best basketball of his life. And that entire team is. It's a heck of a. How can you not root for those guys?
It's true.
I mean, I love John Beilein. For 5 years, I've been talking about this show. I just love his teams.
Yep.
They have an identity and they play, but it's also they're just fun to watch.
Yes, they are.
Yes,
they are.
They always seem to be together. There's never seemed to be strife with those teams.
Nope.
You get the most out of all these kids. They love playing for him, and this team's. This could be a storybook. Even if they just get to the Final Four.
Unbelievable.
This is a heck of a run.
The day it happened, you were covering the tournament in Washington, D.C., the Big Ten tournament, and we were all in here. I had not heard the news yet. When I walked into the station that day, and Carp and Austin were talking about Michigan and the fact that they may not make it to D.C. that day, and I'm like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, their plane slid off. So, of course, then I started getting on Twitter and all this, and I'm like, you got to be kidding.
Well, I landed, and we had a rough flight.
You did.
It was windy across the Midwest and East Coast that day. And that was the most scared I've ever been on a plane.
Wow.
I get scared. I get a little nervous before flight. And I'm not like a guy who prays a lot.
Right.
I pray before a flight takes off.
That's cool.
And then, when you get down, I'm usually good once the wheels hit the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
But that day, we were going up and down. And when we got the ground, I wanted to kiss the ground.
Amen.
And then I said, wow, that flight was bumpy. And people said, did you see what happened to Michigan?
Yeah.
And I start looking at my phone. I'm like, holy cow. And, of course, Illinois plays that.
Yep. Worst flight I ever had. Worst flight was the very first flight that we took, Lucas.
Oh.
And you
How
talk
old was
about, I can't even, he was young. And you're just sitting there thinking,
was he a baby or was
No, he was older. He was like probably 4 or 5.
Okay,
but
I would have never gotten on a plane again.
It was one of those, it's not that I wouldn't pray in situations, but in that situation, when I get on a plane, this is how I am like when I go to a roller coaster or whatever. I just sit there and I just come to peace with this. I'm like, if this roller coaster flies off, I'm done.
Yeah.
But I'm going to sit here and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I am on a plane.
You can't control any of it,
I can't
right?
control any of it. So I'm like, once this plane
that's the
gets
fear,
up,
though.
I
It's
know.
like, I can control myself in this car that I'm driving right
That's
now.
exactly right.
This plane that is 30,000 feet in the air, or even just 100 feet in the air. It's like, I can't control this thing.
And I told Carp, the only time that I sit there and even think about anything on a plane, I told this to Carp when you were gone on that tournament. I said, every time I'm on a flight, and I've done this 100 times, when we are getting ready for landing and I hear the wheels go,
yeah,
I'm like, yes! Yes, they're down. Because if you didn't hear that, I'd be like, oh, crap. How are we going to land this?
Down, yeah.
I did tell Carp, though, that day, and this is what I was going to tell you, that when that happened, I'm like, oh, great. And I was being kind of sarcastic at first, where I was like, oh, great. Now Michigan's going to end up beating Illinois. I said, then they're going to win the Big Ten tournament. I said, then they're going to win the national title. Or no, I said Final Four. I said they're going to get to the Final Four, and there's going to be a Disney movie made about this Michigan team. Here we are 2 steps from the Final Four, and I think you could make a movie about this. Yeah. I really think you could.
Especially if they make it.
I mean, they're just destined.
There's characters, too.
There is. And Wagner, I had no idea. That kid needs to be a writer.
He's going to be an NBA player.
Yes.
I think DJ Wilson's going to be an NBA player.
That's a really good job he did. Yeah. Oh. And Derek, I don't know about him.
He's just not, I don't think he's big enough.
Right.
Or fast enough.
But, man, is he
he's
perfect
great
point guard
senior,
to have.
And I said before the season, what's he doing on the preseason All-Big Ten team?
Right.
Holy crap, did he prove me wrong.
And then that game against Oklahoma State, he was unbelievable.
The whole Big Ten tournament, he's the heart of that team. I mean, Wilson and Wagner have had huge games. Abdur Rahman's a nice player. Zach Irvin's kind of just there now.
Yeah, right.
Right, he's supposed to be the best player on that team, and he's just a good shooter.
It is amazing. And, of course, Michigan plays tonight. They're a 1-point favorite against the 3-seed Oregon. You also have 4-seed West Virginia against number 1 Gonzaga. Gonzaga 3-point favorite there. Kansas 5-point favorite over Purdue, and Arizona 7-point favorite over Xavier. I told you earlier, I kind of broke it down a little bit with regards to Purdue's got to muck it up. They got to make this kind of a tight defensive game as usual. I mean, it's Purdue, right? Mm-hmm. They have the size advantage over Kansas. Do you think they have any chance at all against the Jayhawks? What would
Purdue?
have to go?
Sure.
Yeah.
And Caleb Swanigan's the best player, one of the best players in college basketball, if not the best player this season. They got to own the interior.
They do.
Because Purdue's got the far better guards. I mean, Frank Mason.
Or Kansas does.
Or Kansas,
yes.
yeah. I mean, Frank Mason's phenomenal. And Josh Jackson, guys, if you haven't seen him, he could be an NBA superstar.
Call him Miss Jackson?
I mean,
he's unreal.
I mean, there's a reason Kansas was the number 1 team for a while.
Isn't that unreal?
In the country this year.
Every year we just keep churning, don't we?
Talent, and good coaching. I mean,
right.
People always, anybody could win with that talent. I don't know that.
Yeah, you're right.
Plenty of teams that have talent. Devontae Graham's a nice player. They're just not as big.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They're not.
So that's where Purdue obviously has the size advantage. They need their guards to play great defense and hit a bunch of threes.
Yes. They need threes to happen.
Swanigan and Haas should get theirs. But Jackson's a kind of athlete that Purdue doesn't have, and Frank Mason, the point guard's the best player in the court.
And I think that one's in Kansas City.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, so in other words, as they should, it being a number 1 seed, as Illinois took advantage of back in 2005. I mean, you get the home crowd essentially, but should be fun. And then the Zona is the late game, so should be. Hey, college basketball's back, NCAA tournament back, Sweet 16. You'll have 4 games tonight, 4 tomorrow, and then Saturday and Sunday continues as well. It's awesome.
If you want to weigh at 359-2255, that's 217-359-2255.
I thought of something. The only issue, though, is when it's the first 2 days of the tournament and there are 4 games going on at the same time. And when one gets to a timeout, you automatically flip to the other, and then the flip to the other. And then, like tonight, they'll start that first game and there's nothing else. And you're just like, oh, no, this is driving me nuts. Get another game on so I can watch it.
I don't know, but these are like the quality
They
games.
are, without
You don't have
a doubt.
the quantity where it's like, there could be something else, like this game if I don't like that game. These should be, hopefully, quality games.
Huge.
Just like Friday and Thursday weren't great this year.
No, they weren't.
Saturday, Sunday was great.
Oh, beautiful. And tonight and tomorrow should be great. All right, 359-2255. If you'd like to weigh in on the Cheap Hour text line or the Jupiters at the Crossing phone line. It is the Tay and J Show.
This is Rob Meyer with Provident Financial Group. Are you sure you're on track to reach your retirement goals? Wondering how much money you'll need to last your lifetime? Whether you are retiring in a few weeks or a few years, we can analyze your needs and create a plan that's right for you. Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network. Find us online at ProvidentFinancialGroupLLC.com.
Provident, partnerships built on trust.
Member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air, they all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team. That lush green lawnscape is a result of a reputation earned through consistent performance. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, weed reduction, disease, and insect control. Now the ease and trouble-free convenience of Spring Green's professional lawn care's full program is yours at savings of 20% for new customers. It's backed by their guarantee of satisfaction. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com at 217-359-2111.
Hey, Frankie, what you got there? It's an Italian hero from Subway.
A lot of meat on that sandwich.
Well, yeah, Mrs. G. It's got mortadella, spicy capicola.
Capicola? Nice.
Genoa salami, oil and vinegar.
Is that Mediterranean oregano I smell?
Yeah, Mr. Antonelli.
What did I tell you? That thing is loaded.
That's a nice sandwich. You did good, Frankie. Real good.
Thanks, Sal. Thanks. Everybody?
Subway has the authentic taste everyone loves. Introducing the Italian Hero. It's our better Italian flavor for a better Subway. Limited time only.
Are you at your best when the whistle blows? With Carl Sports Medicine, you can jump higher, run faster, and be on your game every time. Take advantage of our professional athletic training services, plus injury prevention and free sports medicine walk-in clinics with injury experts. Get ready to reach your personal best. Visit carl.org/sportsmedicine or call 217-383-3300. Carl, official medical provider of Fighting Illini Athletics.
Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy.
As a small business owner, you make every dollar count. So what could you do with $10? Go to Vistaprint.com today and you'll get 500 high-quality custom business cards for only $9.99. That's less than 2 cents per card. And at Vistaprint, your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. So it's never been easier to turn 500 strangers into connections. Just visit Vistaprint.com and use promo code 3535 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 3535.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda.
Let's go!
Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go.
Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
Join the Champaign Parks Foundation for a night of dancing, singing, and laughing to benefit Champaign Parks and programs on Saturday night, April 1st at the City Center. Doors open at 7, with comedian Chris Schlichting taking the stage at 7:30, followed by Mike and Joe, one of the nation's most renowned rock cover bands who will get you moving to cover tunes from the 90s through today. Brought to you by Scotty's Brewhouse and Stevie J Broadcasting. Get your tickets for $10 or $20. Available now or at the door. ChampaignParks.com.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lonte, Jeremy Warner. I just showed the intern something I showed you right when I got in here.
Yeah.
So I see a video on Facebook today.
Made everybody cry. You should tweet that out to your followers.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how to do that, but I will.
What's the headline?
Let me get there. And if you have kids that are a little bit older now, you're going to want to see this video, and then you're going to hate me because you're going to be like, oh, my gosh.
In tears?
Yes, it is. I guess this was a commercial that played during the NCAA tournament.
Wait,
I
do
don't
you know
what
which
it's called.
company it is?
No. It was just retweeted by some guy or sent on Facebook. I'll let you look at it.
Then it was not a good ad if you don't know the company.
Yeah, I don't. It's a good point because I think at the very end they actually show.
Okay,
they actually show. Yeah. So, but it's,
just tweet that out later.
Okay, I will.
You
I'll
can
do
probably
that.
copy the link from Facebook. And
I'll do that.
People will have a good cry.
Oh man, it's tough.
So Fortune magazine today named Theo Epstein the world's greatest leader.
What?
You had the greatest response to that.
Baseball leader or just a leader
just
in general?
The world's greatest leader.
Well, that is interesting.
I mean, Theo Epstein deserves all the praise in the world. If he's our world's greatest leader, we need help. Help us.
Maybe he could be. Maybe he could be the greatest
Can we
leader
get him
in the
into
history.
something more important than Cubs baseball?
If he is, then let's get him out of baseball.
You mastered Cubs baseball.
Yes, he did.
Can you take on the United Nations or something like that?
You corrected the Red Sox. Now you've corrected the Cubs.
Let's send him to the Middle East for a while.
Right.
Figure that thing out. We get a rebuild job there.
He starts trading guys in the Middle East. We're going to trade you from here to there. No, I mean, listen, the guy is unbelievable, though, what he's done.
World's greatest leader.
That is a little bit of a, overstatement, I think. Sorry, nothing against Theo.
The Pope was number 3.
Oh, wow. Who was 2?
I'm looking up the story right now.
That is interesting.
Number 2 was Alibaba founder Jack Ma, which is like their Amazon.
Okay.
In the Middle East. Number 3 was Pope Francis.
Okay.
Number 4, Melinda Gates. And number 5, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos.
Okay, those are the top 5 greatest world leaders. Theo
Epstein at the top.
At the top of that list.
And here's Theo Epstein's text to Buster Olney.
Oh, no.
I can't even get my dog to stop peeing in the house. That is ridiculous. The whole thing is patently ridiculous. It's baseball, a pastime involving a lot of chance. If Zobrist's ball is 3 inches farther off the line, I'm on the hot seat for a failed 5-year plan. I'm not even the best leader in our organizations. Our players are.
That is excellent. Well, that's what you love about Theo, right? He really is not a brash guy. He just gets the job done.
There was one other sports figure on the list. Can you guess who it was?
One other sports figure as a leader.
World's greatest leader.
Mike Krzyzewski.
No.
He's
a player.
Oh, I was going to say Bill Belichick. No. He's a player. World's greatest leader. LeBron?
Yes.
Okay.
Came in at number 11.
Okay.
On that list.
What would be the next? Okay, if I could give you Theo Epstein with any sport, is it Cleveland?
What's the next job?
Yeah, what is he turned around Boston after 86 years?
Yeah.
He turned around the Cubs and got them a title after 108 or whatever it was. Is it Cleveland Browns football?
Oh, I thought you were going to go Indians. I was going to no, but it's Cleveland Browns.
It's the Browns.
Yes.
So take that, Theo. Let's see if you can go. If you turn the Browns into a Super Bowl winner, you can have that title, world's greatest leader.
What else in the world could he take on?
In the world, he could take on. I don't want
a lot of things.
Yes, I was going to say we got a lot of things he could take on.
Is there another one like the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Yeah, that'd be good. Except they've won before, right?
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, that's true. Have the Browns ever won a championship?
They've won NFL championships. They haven't won a Super Bowl.
Kind of like the Cardinals. Yes. Who would be in the NBA? Yeah, would it be? Who's a team that is just perennially horrible?
Well, Clippers were for a long time.
Oh, that's right. And they kind of turned it around.
Sacramento Kings might be that now.
And then in hockey, Toronto would be a good one in hockey. How about the Blues? They've never won it.
The Cincinnati Bengals were for a long time.
Yeah.
But they're solid now.
That would be interesting to see if Theo could go into Congress. Somebody just said Congress.
There you go. Perfect.
Well, good for Theo Epstein. What the heck?
I shared a story on my Twitter today. They did a behind the scenes with Adam Schefter.
Did you share that? I want to read this.
Oh, it is phenomenal.
That guy, does he sleep?
Not much.
Okay.
Not much. And they followed him, mmqb.com. You can go find it there. They followed Schefter for a day, the day free agency opened up, and it's amazing. It is amazing how much work goes behind that.
I love
like him
those
and
kind of
Adrian Wojnarowski.
Yes.
It's amazing how many connections those guys. And if you wanted to figure out, if you want to learn a little bit about how they do that,
right?
That story is phenomenal. It's just basically 24 hours with Adam
Okay.
Schefter. And
At
it's
Jay
cool.
Warner Scout.
Well, just go to mmqb.com.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, mmqb.com will have it. But yeah, I tweeted out earlier in the day, but you'll have to go down my list.
That is cool because I love those kind of stories. I've always wanted you to write a book on like Josh Whitman right now. How cool would it be?
It's all about getting that access. That's
the
hard
problem.
part.
That's the problem. But if I wish they would allow this, I know they don't, and
I
I know
love
there's
those
probably some issues like even legally about doing that while he's in context with other candidates to try to about a job. But wouldn't it
Like
be
a day
cool?
on the coaching search?
Or a day on the coaching search.
That would be really interesting.
Or if a camera was with him when he went to sit down with Lovie Smith, or when he went down to meet the president of the U of I and all of that, and then had breakfast with them, and then he went to meet with Lovie Smith.
I think a day behind on that would be really interesting.
cool.
I was able to sit in on a meeting with Bill Cubitt's staff of just them setting up an official visit.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Weekend, and that was
I bet
really interesting. Like those
bet.
behind the scenes. There's some good books about like the NFL draft.
Right.
I found really, really interesting. When you get that kind of access, that's phenomenal. Is there another kind of one that you can think of, like in sports, that you love to sit by? Like the trade deadline of baseball would be really interesting.
That would be cool. I'm trying to think.
Woj on draft night with Adrian Wojnarowski.
How about like the night before Game 7 of like the World Series with the Cubs and Indians? Yeah. Just following those guys the night before, or even that day leading up to the game. Like, what were some of the things? Does Chris Bryant get fired up before a game, or is he kind of loose before a game?
I don't know why, but for some reason I find the front office management part almost more intriguing. Because we've seen a lot of behind the scenes with players getting ready and stuff that.
Exactly.
Or during the game, we get some access to those guys and even the coaches.
Yep.
That front office feels like it's locked in a dark room somewhere, right? Like those are the things. Or being on like a recruiting visit. Like, there's a great book Bruce Feldman wrote, Meat Market, where he goes on the road with Ed Orgeron when he's at Ole Miss and follows some of those recruits. That's a phenomenal
That'd be cool.
book.
I always thought about like Mazalok when they were trying to lock down Pujols in that long contract, where it was one of those where do you give too much? Do you give enough? What is being said to maybe your best player ever? And Stan, I know you're there, buddy. But it's one of those situations where you've had Albert Pujols, who has led you for 11 years to unprecedented things with regards to his numbers and what the Cardinals did in that decade, and then you sit there and you're trying to understand to him and relay to him, convey how important he is to this organization, but yet also saying we just can't give you this much money because it's going to end up crippling us in the future by doing that. I would have loved to have had backseat access to that when Pujols or his agent or both walk into Mo's office and they sit down and talk about that. I think things like that are interesting.
Because those things feel untouchable to us.
Correct.
As fans. The games.
That's correct.
Like getting even practices sometimes that you feel like you can get a feel for those. Like that front office stuff.
Yes.
The recruiting trail stuff. Like in-home visits, stuff like that.
How about Whitman Saturday morning in Brad Underwood's
I think
living room?
A day on the coaching search would be...
Just to see,
really intriguing. Like I talked to Brad Underwood's agent, did a story on that.
Right.
And just him, he got the call from Whitman in the parking lot when he was at the University of Dayton Arena.
Isn't that weird?
Waiting to go in and watch Andy Enfield, also his client, in USC play. He gets a call from Whitman, and that's where it all started.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just the funny things like that, and then boom, the ball rolls, and here we are a week later, or almost a week later, and Brad Underwood is your next Illini coach. And tomorrow he's making a big visit with Jeremiah Tillman, and he's got Jamal Walker in tow.
That could have a lot of intriguing news over the next couple of weeks.
That's awesome.
Thanks to our one guest today, Jeff Schroeder, Network Center Physical Therapy Injury Report. We had a guest list for the most part today.
We
huh?
did. Totally
that was a fun
did.
show.
That was a good show. I enjoyed today. And Nancy Faye, the new Illini women's basketball coach, is going to do a press conference tomorrow.
We're hoping to get her in studio
that
at some point
fantastic.
soon. So if you missed any of the show, get the podcast at espncu.com or find us on iTunes. That's all powered by GTPS Insurance. Thanks to Tyler Knight and Harry Black. They're just getting up shots
They
today.
are, and Harry Black, 5 straight. He has the official Tay and J Nerf hoop record for now. For now. Yeah, he's trying to raise the bar.
Like a chalkboard with
He's going to get fat and sassy. We should do that. Enjoy the games tonight. It is the Tay and J Show. Black for 3. Got it!
Prairie View Landscaping is continuing their 25th anniversary celebration by giving away a 55-inch LG Smart TV from Good Vibes. Email mypvdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote, and you can get up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com. When you do, you'll be registered to win a 55-inch LG Smart TV from Good Vibes just in time for the Final Four. mypvdiscount@gmail.com. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know it's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
Brought to you by F.E. Moran Security Solutions. Brian Tyson is our law enforcement official of the month. U of I Police, what is Crisis Intervention Team?
They're a group of officers that get extensive training in dealing with people who are suicidal, who are in crisis, with mental illness, people that in a perfect world the police wouldn't be their first contact, but unfortunately that's not the way it works. And we see it on such a regular basis, hundreds and hundreds of contacts just with our police department. So we have a countywide initiative here in Champaign that includes all of the departments in the county, along with the hospitals, See You at Home, with Rosecrans, who used to be Champaign County Mental Health, where we get together once a month, try to figure out what's going on, do staffing. There's some exciting things happening. I hope it works. It really doesn't make sense to a lot of people that to deal with people with mental health, you're going to call the police. But in all honesty, there's not really anybody else to do it.
F.E. Moran supports our law enforcement official of the month.
Got a question? Talk to our experts now at StevieJay.com. Experts are there, ready to answer your questions for free. Home improvement question. Our experts from Land, Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing can help. Need help with home remodeling? Talk to our service experts from Flooring Services, where the world is at your feet. Need to pay for those home improvements? Talk to our financial experts from the U of I Community Credit Union. They are the Stevie J Broadcasting experts. Ask an expert today at StevieJay.com. That's StevieJay.com.
Hey, Frankie, what you got there? It's an Italian hero from Subway.
A lot of meat on that sandwich.
Well, yeah, Mrs. G. It's got mortadella, spicy capicola.
Capicola? Nice.
Genoa salami, oil and vinegar.
Is that Mediterranean oregano I smell?
Yeah, Mr. Antonelli.
What did I tell you? That thing is loaded.
That's a nice sandwich. You did good, Frankie. Real good.
Thanks, Sal. Thanks. Everybody?
Subway has the authentic taste everyone loves. Introducing the Italian Hero. It's our better Italian flavor for a better Subway. Limited time only.
Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
ESPN Radio